in an environment where you have graduation speakers spreading blood libels, in an environment where you have social media influencers making baseless claims, people like Hassan Piker over on Twitch, or there's others on TikTok and Instagram saying wild, baseless things about Jews, about Zionists, about Israelis. Vlad, I worry that this could even get worse. So I think we really need tech platforms to step up and stop, lifting up these intemperate voices. We need elected officials to speak out. We need people from all walks of life to stand with their Jewish friends and neighbors today, maybe show up for their own walk next weekend and say we won't be intimidated by the bigots.
Because I look at social media now, and many of these platforms, I mean, the dominant characteristic that I see is what you're describing: anti-Semitism, racism, misogyny, and the spread of misinformation. So how to combat that? What is the ADL doing? I mean, are you having conversations with the leaders of these companies to at least try to remove that nefarious content from their platforms?
Yeah, Vlad, we've talked about this before over the years. I think social media is a super spreader, as you said, of anti-Semitism and racism and all kinds of hate. Unfortunately, companies like X and Meta have retreated from content moderation in recent months, introducing these community notes, which is by no means a panacea. I mean, Vlad, it's a little crazy that the most sophisticated, profitable companies on the planet Earth are outsourcing content moderation to the users. So yeah, we are seeing a rampant, just explosion of hate. We are not only talking to the companies themselves, we're talking to the regulators. I mean, I think it is time for government to step up here. These companies are, they say too big to fail. These companies are too big to just leave alone. I mean, they're almost monopolistic. And again, they allow for this unmitigated rise of the kind of hate that explodes in real life, just like you're seeing on the screen. So yeah, it is time for these companies to demonstrate the same kind of accountability that we see in other media businesses and simply, knock the Nazis, knock the anti-Zionists off the platform once and for all.
Excellent point.
It's the Homeless Left with Matt Weinglass and co-host Craig Pasta Jardula. Episode 111, the Trump MAGA Bait and Switch. With special guests Heartlands Media's CABELLO and Daniel LUEPKER. And an all-new top censored news of the week. And here's your host, Matt Weinglass.
All right, here we go. Here we go. Let's do this, guys. Welcome one and all to another episode of The Homeless Left, the non-tribal approach to news network. I'm your host, Matt Weinglass. We got a great show planned for you guys today. We're calling this show Trump's Bait and Switch. All of the things that people voted for aren't quite working out. In fact, it's quite the opposite. We're talking about the war spending, AI stuff, censorship, mRNA. It's not make America great again. It's make Israel great. Israel first. That's what we've kind of come to realize. A lot of us may have thought about it and, anticipated this earlier than others, but either way, more people are figuring it out. And we're looking into all these things today. We are going to be joined later in the show by our special guest from Heartlands Media. We're going to have Kit and Daniel together on the show, along with co-host Craig Pasta Jardula. We'll be bringing him in a minute. I just want to say that opening, that was Jonathan Greenblatt. You guys know the CEO of the pro-Israel lobby. It's the ADL, and they are calling for more censorship, of course, because anybody that disagrees with their agenda is, anti-Zionist, which means they're a threat to the nation's security. So this is what the time and the place we're living right now as this is unfolding. Okay, guys, so we're not just going to get into all that stuff. We have some other stories happening as well. There's a lot going on. We'll be doing a Loudest Voice of the Week today, We Know It, It's Not segment, and also talking back. We're going to be doing that with you guys. We'll be bringing in Jamie CheeseSlice later in the show to do some talking back with you guys, so you can engage with us on our Rumble channel, on our YouTube channel, and we will interact and respond with you, because you guys help make the thing we're doing possible. So we want to thank all of you guys that have been part of what we're doing for the last 2 years and helping us through the battle against the censorship industrial complex, these psycho Zionist trust the science people that have been pushing back on people like us having conversations that we're not allowed to have, because apparently we're too dangerous for the community. That's why our previous YouTube channel got terminated. At least that's what they told us. We were just too dangerous for the community, unfortunately. So, but we're back, and I just want to throw you guys up this. We're waiting for our final confirmation now that we're actually going to be monetized on YouTube. This is insane, because this channel we're calling our burner channel, because again, like I said, the Homeless Left on YouTube got terminated. It doesn't exist. If you type it in right now, it's gone. It doesn't actually exist. We started this burner channel from scratch at the beginning of the year. It's been just about 5 months, and now we're waiting for the monetization. But that's because of you guys, and we've been very careful about what we post. But apparently, a couple of our stuff blew up enough, got some attention. Mostly the pushback against the Israel-U.S. Western imperialism propaganda machine. That's what we've been pushing back more than anything on. Also, we've been pushing back against Big Pharma. That's also very important as well. But all these things is why there's actually people in the community that want to see this stuff. That's what we're talking about. That as they're sending us emails, YouTube, Google, sending us emails, telling us that we're too dangerous for the community, the actual community wants to have these conversations, and they let us know by engaging with us. So thank you guys for being part of our little experiment, our second try on YouTube. So hopefully we get that monetization, which means more reach, more engagement from people who don't even know we exist on there. But just one final shout out to the platform that hasn't pulled the plug on us. That is Rumble, Twitter as well. Now, look, there's shadow banning going on. We have to fight that. Obviously, that's why we ask you guys to like and share and do all that stuff. But at least they haven't pulled the plug, so we have to give a shout out. The Homeless Left is on Rumble, is on Twitter. All of our back episodes are available on Rumble. You can watch the whole 2 years of stuff if you want. If you want to sit back and have a marathon, or you can just go to our segments. We upload the segments as regularly as possible, so you guys can share those out as well with people that maybe want to have a conversation about something that maybe might be the tipping point for them. It might just be the thing. The one topic, if you resonate with us, something today resonates with you, we will put the segment up. That might be your gateway to making that difference, that one, changing one mind at a time. It might be that thing. So that's how we all do our part. We're all part of this together. So that's what we're here to do. And that's what journalism should be about. It should be about critical thinking. It should be non-tribal. Like I said earlier, this is a non-tribal place that we exist, where we don't take sides. We're not part of promoting a team, promoting a person, anything like that. We do not do hero worshiping on this show at all. That's a rule, because when you hero worship, it always ends poorly, as we're seeing right now with the Trump MAGAs right now, which we can definitely empathize with them, but we have to have these conversations and wake them up if they still are in denial about that. Okay. With that said, let's go ahead and bring in our co-host for today. You know him, you love him. Please welcome back to the show, Craig Pasta Jardula.
What's up, Matt? Thanks for having me on. It's always fun to do the Homeless Left with you on Thursdays.
Absolutely, man.
Can I say something real quickly? I mean, wouldn't it have been awesome? Like all these people who are now some lefties out there, right? Oh, this is it, that went along, that played the lesser of two evil games, that promoted Donald Trump, that, we're all about rescue the Republicans, or rescue the Republic, disguised as rescue the Republicans, saving the two-party duopoly and keep us in this constant hamster wheel, which at the end of the day, they hope that we capitulate to a tribe. That's why we're homeless. But imagine some of those people now that are saying that stuff, had they just listened to us, is it almost like 9 months ago? Because it was 3 months before the election. We were like, no, Donald Trump is not the answer. He is not the lesser of two evils. You are not mitigating damage. I understand how pissed off you are at the Democrats and what they've done, but that was all done by design. Donald Trump's whole presidency has been nothing more than a psyop. We've been saying this for quite some time. I don't give a shit if other people get credit for it now, as long as they're getting the message, Matt, fine, cool. But, you know, it would have been nice if you paid attention to some of us, because we wanted to be wrong. You think, if you don't think for one fucking second that I didn't want those sanctions lifted from Ukraine, that I didn't want that war stopped, that I didn't want to see an end to the killing, that I didn't want to see some type of peace agreement, even though I'd still believe strongly what Fiorella has been echoing for quite some time, it will only be a pause. The West will always try to balkanize Russia, will try to regime change the people they don't like. You know, they don't like Putin. They'll want to get another Boris Yeltsin back that will do their bidding. They're going to continue to do that. But still, all in all, if you didn't think for 1 second that I didn't want that Matt didn't want that Fiorella didn't want that anybody in our circle, echo chamber, whatever you want to call it, didn't want that, you're smoking grass, and you're smoking the wrong type of grass, because I desperately wanted to be wrong. However, like I've said, there's no crystal ball around here. It was just very easy to kind of see what was going to happen, the writing on the wall, you know, and we've had other guests on that really kind of echo that sentiment, that, you know, that Donald Trump will digress into Joe Biden's position. It was the most Zionist presidency of all time, cabinet of all time. We saw these things. That was not capitulating damage. That was not choosing the lesser of two evils. That was keeping the status quo going, and when that's what they wanted, and that's what they got. So now we're stuck with it, and we're fighting from on our heels once again.
Yeah. And here we are. And we're not going to look, I'm not going to be like I told you so. I told you so. No, now is the time when people are ready to come where we are at in this space that we're in, which is it's all about non-tribal. It's all about critical thinking. And if they're ready for that, we welcome you with open arms. We don't have to live in the past. This is the moment we can go from here. We can start holding people accountable, especially the people that we elect, the people that you check that box for. Just out of principle, you should be the first to yell and scream if they're not doing the thing that they told you they would. You gave them money, you gave them your vote, you gave them your time, you gave them your attention, your energy, your emotion, your everything. You should be the first to speak up. So we welcome that if you're able to do that now. We welcome it. We wish more people could do that on the other side. They don't at all. They sat quiet the entire way through Biden's demented campaign of pushing illegal wars, proxy wars, genocide, screwing the labor movement, everything, baiting and switching the women's right, of everything, just everything, the lockdowns, silencing people, censoring, destroying small businesses. The list is so long. I didn't hear anybody in the left side, other than our space, say, wait a minute, I voted for that idiot. I thought he was supposed to beat Trump, which I guess he did, but he didn't do anything that he said he would. F him. We didn't really hear that from anybody. So if the Trump people are doing that now, then you know what? More power to you. Be loud. We need you to be loud right now with us. So again, welcome to our movement of non-tribal think, non-hero worship. No more hero worship. I can tell you that, Craig. From here on out, no hero worship. All that stuff's in the rearview mirror. The Bernie and the Obama days, those are done for us. And I hope for people on the Trump side can also be done with that. And that's in their rearview mirror as well. Okay. Yeah. Before we get on to top censored news, I just want to give a shout out to Do Dissidents who came onto our stream on Tuesday on what they're calling it. We just figured this out, Craig. It's called a Rumble Raid. And Rumble Raid can happen, I guess, at any time. It's kind of, if any of you guys have been on Twitch before, you would understand that that's just something that it means building the community on that platform. So we got inundated with their viewers. It was awesome. We made it work. Unfortunately, we were dealing with a StreamYard problem at the time, but we made it work, and we welcome anyone from Do Dissidents that didn't know about our channel, but we're in the same space. Obviously, we have a relationship with those guys. You go way back with the DD boys, Craig, but like, I got to say, it was awesome to be part of that. And we look forward to returning the favor to anybody else out there or whatever happens next. But we're ready now for the Rumble raids and participating in this. It's good. It's community building. We love it. It's awesome. So I just wanted to give a shout out. Oh, one more thing for them. They just hit, I think Do Dissidents just hit 100,000
subscribers on YouTube. So
congrats to them.
I'm so congrats. It's, not to cry, but it's nice to be not censored, not demonetized, to have the ability to do that, because I think the funny thing is if you look at what me and you would talk about constantly on the show, we would align a lot with due dissidents. But why do we get spanked? Well, I don't know. I think we got spanked because of the COVID stuff, right? And that is something I'm very critical of. And I was critical of a lot of people in my circle saying, if you're not talking about COVID, you're not doing journalism. That was during the middle of the pandemic. Like you had to. You had a responsibility. You had a duty to it. And once again, had you been listening to the show, you would have probably had a lot of ivermectin stocked up in your cabinets. You would have never gone near that shot. And you don't have to listen to me. You can listen to Pfizer. They released all the data on their own shot. And if you go through that, you're going, hell no. Wouldn't it have been nice if you're watching the show? Once again, there's some people getting credit today for it, Matt. Speak about it today. How long ago were we talking about it?
We were talking about it from the beginning.
Out of the gate. Yeah. They were like, watch that dude out of the gate. And sure enough, you had Dr. David Martin on talking about some stuff. That's not rhetoric they want out there, the right or the left, the establishment. Daddy Warp Speed doesn't want that information out there. RFK doesn't care anymore. Let it go. You know what I'm saying? They don't want that information out there. We were talking about it when it was happening.
We were, and it wasn't just a one. It wasn't just a one-off. We've been doing it the whole way. Like you said, you mentioned these very critical players in this, and I'll even, you know what? I'll even throw Dr. Shiva in there. I know we had him on. We had a little thing with him, but you know what? The point is, these are the people that were in front of things. We know Dr. Shiva was in front of end the occupation, not ceasefire now. We know he was in the front of COVID. So these are the people, and you mentioned Dr. David Martin. This is the kind of stuff, and Craig, you, and we've had, our other contributor to the show, Stephanie from, Stephanie Pierucci had these relationships, brought these people on when nobody knew who we were when we first started. And those were the conversations that we started from. So not only were we in front of it, we've continued them on. And not to mention Dr. Peter McCullough, you brought him on. We had what else? Dr. Ben
Johnson, I think is Ben Marble.
Ben Marble.
Ben, don't lose your marbles.
Yeah.
By the way, all these people that we're talking about, there are things that we disagree with when it comes to them. There's things we agree with, and that's okay. It's the conversations that needed to be had when they had to be had, and they were had. Like I said, Dr. David Martin's got a lot of critics out there. So does Dr. Malone. But when it comes to Dr. David Martin, when we did his show close to 4 years ago, me, Johnny Tsunami, Fiorella, we went to the patent registration and looked for ourselves and saw that there were patents out for COVID vaccines. I mean, that is just fucking mind-boggling. You don't have to believe Dr. David Martin. You can go do it yourself. So that's why I'm saying the conversation was so important. So I will never, ever, downplay Dr. David Martin, what he brings. I will never downplay what Dr. McCullough brings. You know what I'm saying? Dr. Zelenko, rest his soul, the things he talked about. There were so many people that were talking about it that you can go, okay, stop, pause. Let me go do my own research. You go do your research and you see what's going on. But the fascinating part was, Matt, I know you can probably feel this with me because you probably know so many people, especially being in your geographical location of California. The number one adversary to the Democratic Party at the time, Bernie Sanders movement back in 2015, 2016, was the pharmaceutical lobbyists, was the pharmaceutical companies, was Big Pharma, and what they've done in other countries, how they've used people in Africa as lab rats and, given them many diseases and stuff. But to go and capitulate and just believe them, to believe that all of a sudden, because there was a pandemic out there, that you didn't want to do a lot of research on how the pandemic started itself. You were just taking what they were saying on face. It was bat soup in a wet market. It was by accident. It was by chance. We're moving at the speed of science. We got to react. But to just listen to them and think that they would be benevolent, to me, is mind-blowing, right? The left should have been way ahead of this because they already knew the enemy they were dealing with. They just had what Gore said is Vidal Gore, not the shit Gore, Vidal Gore, the good Gore, who rest his soul, was a playwright, artist, and activist, a journalist. His father was in the military. Gore Vidal, he said, we live in the United States of amnesia. And that's the problem, because people have a short attention span, and they also have a short memory not to remember what their country has been doing for so long in their name. And that's the thing we have to get forth with people. Right now, it's being done in our name. What we're going to talk about Israel is being done in our name. We need to get on it. We need to get ahead of it, and enough is enough.
Absolutely. And look at this. We got Molly Littlebird telling us, perfect show. We got Weinglass and pasta. Don't get too hungry there. But yeah, that's Love it. I don't think anyone's put those two together like that before. So there you go. Thanks for that, Molly Little Bird. Okay, I think it's about time
The perfect
we get
combination,
into
buddy.
top censored news of the week. Here we go. Uncanceled Comedy Collective presents top censored news of the week. It's time for top censored news of the week. We're bringing you the stories that the mainstream media just refuses to cover. But if they do cover them, they always do it in a very dishonest or sloppy way. And it's always on purpose. I'm here today with co-host Craig Pasa Jardula, and we're going to go through the top 3 stories this week that the mainstream doesn't want you to be talking about. So let's get into the number 3. Coming in at number 3. Oops. Wrong one. Here we go. Coming in at number 3, Trump taps AI Zionist tech company Palantir to create master database on every U.S. citizen. Now, this is the thing that ties it all together. The thing that is the exact opposite of what MAGA, Trump, the entire campaign was about, was going against this type of thing. That's what he ran on. That's what people voted for. This is the exact opposite. If anything, this is the epitome of all the things wrong with where we are now. And of course, the mainstream doesn't even want to report on this accurately because it's only going to incriminate them as well. Here's the story right here. So Trump is tapping Palantir. They're creating a master database on every American. Now, some people might say, well, why does it? Who cares? That doesn't really matter, does it? I mean, it's not like, it's not like if you're not doing anything wrong, I guess that should be fine, right? You as long as you don't have anything to feel guilty about, it should be fine. Hey, that's the age of the information. It's all accessible. It's easy. It's concise, right? No problems, really? Well, let's look behind this thing. We found this article from 2017. So we knew that Palantir was a problem way before what this current administration's second term is going, and way before Biden, way before COVID, way before any of this, way before Elon Musk bought X. We knew that Palantir, the special ops tech giant, wields as much real world power as Google. Peter Thiel, CIA-backed data mining firm, honed its crime predicting techniques against insurgents in Iraq. Wow, interesting. They tested it on foreign soil before they tested it on domestic American citizens. The same methods will now be sold to police departments. Oh, wow. That'll be nice. Will they inflame already tense relationships between the public and the police? Of course they will. And of course, Minority Report, the film from 2002, does come to mind. This was supposed to be a futuristic fiction piece. The LAPD pre-crime unit that Tom Cruise played, using the premonitions of sentient mutants called precogs. And the police can predict your behavior before you do it. Wow, that doesn't seem like too much crazy power to give any one entity, does it, Craig? And look at this. Where did the money come from? Looks like it came from Jeffrey Epstein, who invested with Peter Thiel and his estate, which that money then turned into the big conglomerate that we know now as Palantir. So we have to follow the money as well. Where did it come from? That doesn't seem that shady. Now, does it, Craig? On top of that, now we have Elon Musk's, his X platform is joining with Palantir to push into the financial sector. All these things came together. There was only a handful of people reporting on this. We know Whitney Webb did some incredible story on this, incredible work on this. Even a year ago, we had all this information. Everything was coming together on this. And now the CEO, this is where it gets really, really bad. He's going to use his position now in this company to push back against what he calls anti-Israel protests. He's calling them pagan and says he's dreamed of drone striking his enemies. This is the type of person Alex Karp is. And he says you need to teach the enemy a lesson. That's how you create, as he says, peace in the world, by punishing your enemy. And we have this clip. We played this on Tuesday. I'm going to play it again just so we can see the worst of the worst is what this guy is saying publicly, that sometimes you have to murder people to create peace. Here he goes.
Here is here to disrupt and make the institutions we partner with the very best in the world, and when it's necessary, to scare enemies and on occasion kill them.
On occasion, kill them. So this
Talking
is
about
like,
Hamas.
yeah, what about Hamas? Exactly.
Yeah, there were 3 girls in the way. Who cares? We want to go after them.
So who's upset about this besides us? What do you think, Craig? Are you seeing pushback on this? Because these are like all the super villains. This is like literally a super villain team coming together, wielding all the power, taking it all away from all of our human rights, all of everything in our Constitution. They created this super villain team. Who's upset about this besides us right now? Have you seen?
Well, once again, if there was only a show months ago, like when JD Vance was selected, who we said to watch out for right away, and what they were doing, and it's important to point out, and I'm not pointing out because just to keep along the chronological order of things that happened, right? There were people out there like Robert Barnes, who I admire a lot of his work. I don't agree with him on a lot of things, but I agree with him on most things, I should say. But even there were guys like him pushing and saying, well, we have to get dirty. We have to do business with the devil. There has to be a movement of AI. There has to be a movement of collecting data. And what better not a guy like Palantir and Peter Thiel to do that, you know what I'm saying? Excusing it and pushing against people like Whitney and others who were saying, no. Peter Thiel has been working with the CIA for quite some time. His company was given a ton of money by the CIA. Probably wouldn't exist if it wasn't for the CIA. So don't downplay that. This is, you're anti-CIA, you're anti, you want to protect the First Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, the Fifth Amendment. All those things are you hold dear, that they all complained about. Your freedom of speech was taken away. So many people on the populist right, lost their First Amendment right. We've had unlawful search and seizures. We've had no due process, all these things. But now it's happening on the other side, and people are cheering it on. And it was important to point out that those guys going along with it, because it was but Trump. He was the outsider. Yep. He's the one who's going to take on the deep state. And we're like, no, he's not. He's part of the deep state. Oh, you guys are just black pill nihilists. You don't know what you're talking about. Donald Trump is really fighting and battling with these people. I think that's what a lot of the attempted assassinations were about, too, was like martyring him in a way. At least it was a digital martyr from what we saw on Twitter. And how people just were then, he became Jesus in that moment. And I think everything we saw was by design. But when it comes to this particular situation, it's interesting because there are some people who are still holding on. But there was a character named Mr. Leahy on the Trailer Park Boys, which is like a Netflix kind of show. It was a low funded show, but it just got a lot of waves. I think Netflix eventually picked it up, whatever the case may be. But there was a character named Pat Leahy, and he would often use the term shit line. Ricky, you got a shit line, right? You know the rules, Matt. You don't cross my shit line. I don't cross your shit line. And I'm sorry for doing so much cursing, but that's what he was saying. He would describe, he's like, when the moment would happen, when he would be pissed off and going full blown at going to fight the Trailer Park Boys, is when they crossed the shit line. I think for a lot of MAGA people, this was a shit line. Right? This was enough is enough. We've seen other things. We've made excuses. Some people pointed out the other day, they said that they should have caught on when they were talking about the HB visas, when they completely changed their tune when Donald Trump was, I'm for the visas. And Elon Musk was for the visas. And like, wait, that's something you stand against, because we just did a little research and saw that you're not funding the best people to coming in here. You're giving chefs and line cooks jobs. You're giving people that in America have jobs, and that's where the majority of these jobs are going to. You're just doing it so you can hold that person hostage and pay them cheap wages. They said back then they should have caught on. That was another we told you so moment. And come to this today, this was a big one. This Palantir one, I think, is a big one, because not just the way it's, not the fact that it's just been done and Palantir is going to take on this. It's what they're doing. They're also creating systems in which all intelligence and federal agencies, a central database in which they can all just look up and share each other's information. So whatever the CIA has got on you could be shared with what's going on with the DIA, DIH, whatever the IRS has on you can be shared with the CIA. And that is another very, very big red flag. And it's just, all this is happening. I think that we do see a moment now where it's crossed the shit line, and a lot of people are like, okay, we were wrong. You were right. However, the people that are holding on are a new term I've called. They're the neo-xenophobic people within the campaign. The neo-xenophobic people in the campaign, the neo-xenophobic supporters of Donald Trump, and he has a bunch of neo-xenophobic supporters. They're okay with it because Palantir is selling it, and Donald Trump is selling it. His administration is, we're doing this to fix the illegal immigration process.
So if you're on the fence still, on the MAGA side, or you're ready to speak out, and you haven't yet, but you're ready to, you might want to take a cue from, and it doesn't mean you have to be in the street with the pro-Palestinian protesters, but you might want to take a cue for how disruption works, how being loud works, maybe from a little, and I don't know how you feel about this one, Craig, but they didn't waste a second. Code Pink got right on this. This is them interrupting this is an actual Palantir AI summit that Code Pink interrupts to demand that they attest for their operations in Gaza with their AI technology. Here it is.
Figure out how, if I really want to bring about change and bring about a more adaptable culture. Hey, Gio. Yeah. Gio. Behind me.
All right. How wonderful, Mr. Secretary, to live in a country where people are allowed to speak their mind, ask questions of their governments, because in fact,
well, they're not. So stop pretending that this was something that you allowed. They forced their way on that stage and then they got removed. So yeah, go ahead. Let us know how much worse it is in other parts of the world that we are occupying and murdering and torturing and, just annihilating. Yeah, tell us how much better it is over there, or over here than over there.
the adversaries we're up against, whether they're the genocidal communists in Beijing or the Salafi jihadists in the Middle East, don't allow such luxuries of their own citizens. So apologies for the interruption.
Yeah, they don't allow luxuries like getting thrown out of a room when you want to be heard. That's the only way to be heard, is to get on that stage and shout and bring a sign. That's the only way. And these people have to go to jail all the time. We know Code Pink gets arrested all the time for their protesting. We know what happens when you get deplatformed, when they come after you, they shadow ban you. So yeah, I'm sure that's a really a feel good way to have a conversation, but that's all we can really do right now. So kudos to Code Pink for doing that. And however, if you don't have to be for that purpose. There's a lot of other things you should be upset about right now that this company is going to be doing that is going to be taking away all of our rights. Everybody's affected by this. So that's all. I was just going to say, get out from your keyboard and go out and actually do something maybe. I don't know. That's just my take. Hopefully the movement gets bigger. Yeah.
Let's talk about this because can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about this. This is important right here. This is a very important part of, and I'm hoping that Jeremy likes this part right here, because Jeremy is going to give us a good advice on this, yes or no. This is very important for us to explain right here. The people in Code Pink, the people in the Answer Coalition, the people I know. Yesterday on my Wednesday show, I had Margaret Kimberly call in for the first 14 minutes, and it was just bomb because Margaret Kimberly actually shared something from Steve Bannon. Goes, and there I go, I'm sharing Steve Bannon. After I sent that link to you, remember the tweet I sent to Steve Bannon after the show we did on Monday? And I said, look, Steve Bannon is pretty much watching my show. He said everything I've said on what's going on Ukraine, Russia. Like, did Donald Trump know? It's important that he know. If he didn't know and the CIA is just running amok over there, these are things that we should all be saying, hey, we got to stop these things. Not to mention, I said, why isn't Donald Trump called up Lindsey Graham and Dick Blumenthal and say, get the hell out of there right now. We're trying to have negotiations. Come back. Either he's too stupid or he knows or he doesn't know and he's playing along, whatever the case may be. What Code Pink is doing right now, and all those other people I mentioned, Answer Coalition, other people out there, and they are protesting that Palantir, and both Peter Thiel and Alex what's Alex's last name? Karp, right? Alex
Yeah.
Karp have both admitted to, been questioned about, agreed that they're helping the IDFUs to collect data, to target people, to kill people. They're using their skills in a very nefarious way and saying we don't care about it. That's what Code Pink is protesting. What a lot of other people, Trump people, were protesting before Donald Trump was president and thought this would never happen was big tech companies, right? Techno-feudalism, which we're heading down the road to, which, by the way, I kind of talked about on the stage when they did a debate saying, is America becoming a communist country? Over a year and change ago, once again, saying this is what we're heading to. We're heading towards this techno-fascism, right? These corporate entities that will buy, into our technology, buy into our everyday life, and eventually take over and control us. Said this stuff for quite some time. But the people who backed what Donald Trump were against, they were against major data collecting, AI, from these corporations to be used in a nefarious way in which they're using it. Very different than what the Code Pink people are protesting for. You're killing Israelis. Fuck off. But that's the problem with that group. They never go down the rabbit hole. Like, hey, if we can connect the dots for them to saying, all right, Medea, you're upset Palantir's using their technology, selling it to the IDF, using it to kill Israelis. What else is Palantir doing and that's bad? Because when you could sell it that they're not only going to use it to kill Israelis, the brown people, they're going to use it to come after you. Then you build the coalition. And that's important.
That's
because
exactly
I've been in
right.
rooms with two different people who are against one entity for two different reasons. If you don't connect the dots, then it falls on its face. We need to connect the dots. Jeremy Weinglass, I hope you approve of this message. Go ahead, Matt.
I know he does. And I do too, Craig. And I'm happy for you to say that because this is how we beat them at their game. Is we align on the singular issue and we fight back on that. We can argue about the other stuff later. That's fine. But right now, let's align and let's go after them. That's how protesting works. That's how disruption works. And that's how we get the power back to the people. Okay, let's get
By the
to
way,
the
I
numbers.
think that just really quickly, Matt, I think
Okay,
that the left and the right never put together when it came to COVID, too. I think a lot of people were like, somebody asked me, an activist asked me, she goes, are they just using it? How are they using it to kill more brown and poor people? And I was like, see, that's the game in COVID. It's a little bit different. Quoting my good friend Steve Poikonen, when it came to COVID, Whitey had to go. It showed you that the ruling class didn't care about white people in America either, because they were the most accepting to the narrative and what was going on. The most questionable, the Black American community were like, I don't know about this. Hey, Saturday Night Live did a whole skit on Trivial Pursuit about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Showing it's like, I don't know. Like, you know what I'm saying? So when you understand that the ruling class, yes, they hate and they despair and they go after minorities more. And I hate to use the term minorities, black and brown people would be the best term to do it. But that's also to keep their game going of divide and conquered, to keep a bunch of white people going, thinking, that they're the chosen ones, when at the end of the day, they clearly show you they're not. That you're all useless eaters. They hate you all, the 1%.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we're figuring it out now, and that's what's important. Moving forward.
Sorry about that. I had to throw that in there.
No, it's good to draw those connections for sure. And we're all getting smarter. We're all getting stronger at our ability to push back, because we're learning from the past and we don't want to fall for the same trick twice. I think that's the point. Okay. Coming in at number 2, IDF opened fires directly at starving people gathered to get aid in Rafah. Here is a shot of the firing on innocent people trying to get food, who are in the process of starving to death, by the way. Now, this is no different than the way we've seen them being treated this entire time, this entire year and a half. We've seen this type of treatment. The reason why this one, now, there's people out there that think that the aid is getting there. They think that, oh, yeah, Israel's cooperating. No, we know that all the barricades have been set up. We know that aid workers themselves get targeted. They get murdered. That the aid doesn't even get to the people. But in this case, The line of people were there. They came hours and hours to get there in horrible conditions just to show up and be fired on. I'm going to play a little clip of this. This is a kid who survived the firing. His mom did not survive, but he's so enraged and so emotional at this point, but he's able to express himself. And there is I believe there's a translation here. So we're going to do this for just a little bit of this, but this is so you guys can understand how the human side of this is so affected. And the mainstream will not tell you any of this. Here we go. Are you able to read that, Craig? Or should I blow this up?
You should read it out loud.
Okay. Let me make sure I can see. Okay. So you get
Lower it, start it from the beginning.
Okay, I got it. I had to change my window here. Okay. My name is Ahmad Mohammed Zaidan. The Zionist army came and said, go collect aid coupons. First time we didn't believe them because they're occupiers. We don't believe them because they're enemies. But we went thinking that we give doctors respectfully, politely. But they turned out to be filthier than ever. We stayed from 7 in the evening until dawn. Tanks on one side, sea on another. Zionist occupation soldiers on another. Quadcopters on one side. Where are we supposed to go? Oh, European countries, look at us. Oh, Arab countries, look at us. We're human beings like you. No aid distribution. We have no food, no water. We, the people of Gaza, are steadfast until the end of days. And I say to the Israeli army, you will never defeat the people of Gaza. Gaza's strength comes from God, while your strength is in your weapons. We are a great people. I'm telling every person in Gaza to not go to the aid distribution center because the occupier is a liar. Journalists like you report the massacres happening here. Gaza is under siege, and their strength, they won't defeat us. We are a great people. And I say to the youth, don't go to the distribution center. May God curse the aid. We don't want their humiliation. Either they give it to us or not. Okay, and then here is, today my mother was martyred. Before her, my brother was martyred in this war. And God knows who else will lose. There are no guarantees for anyone. But I say to America and to every Arab country, we will not be humiliated. We will live with dignity. It takes that type of strength to even be able to speak about what you're going through at this point. Nobody can really imagine this. I don't think any of us can fully imagine what this is like, to be starving for so many days, show up at a place like this, just be fired upon. Your mother gets shot down. You're sitting there going, we didn't even bring, what are you firing on us for? Did you think that we were here to attack you? You know we weren't, but that's the spin, right? That, it's always that the idea feels threatened. That's their spin. Threatened by starving people who show up with empty bags to put flour in, if they're lucky, which they didn't get. The whole thing was a big con job, and this is what the people are left with. This is what they're doing. And then today, we saw this. This is the same situation where they are destroying them, destroying their resources right in front of them, and anybody who tries to stop it is getting fired upon. This is an actual Israeli bulldozer destroying a hospital facility. This is in northern Gaza, while there's military vehicles opening fire at anybody around them. This just was this morning. Check this one out. Craig, I don't even know what to say about this anymore. We threw this on Top Censored News because we know for a fact this is not reported on. What the mainstream continues to report on, however, is the biggest problem in our country is anti-Semitism. The biggest problem is people having a problem with this. That's the problem. And they're going to continue to double and triple down on that story and not tell the story of the poor Palestinian people who are being, like the kid said, humiliated. and made into a joke. And he's saying, I will tell people, do not show up at these places. They're doing a bait and switch on us, and they're trying to humiliate us. So we're just going to have to figure out how to do this another way. We do not trust the occupiers. We do not trust anybody who says they reach out their hand. No, take my hand. No. I promise you this time. I that last time, don't worry about that. This time I mean it. No, do not trust the occupiers. Do not trust the Western imperialism and the Western war machine and Western propaganda for that matter.
Well, I'll give you another one on top of everything. Not only is all this happening and we're acting like it's not happening, because it's been radio silence, Matt, on the mainstream media 4 months on Israel, Gaza. Radio silence, not even talking about it. I've been switching around on morning shows, watching them, paying attention, seeing what's going on, see what they're talking about, putting on some mainstream media here. Radio silence, and that's by design, right? Because then what does it do to the United States citizen? It becomes a blur. We don't hear about it. It's not talked about. It's not talked about on the radio. It's talked about on Pacifica radio channels, by the way, on WBAI. I'm not even close with Katie Halper, but her show that she's been putting up there on WBAI comes on at 3 p.m. Eastern on Wednesdays. And before my show, I follow right up with it. And a lot of times we do have a lot of people wanting to talk about Israel, Gaza, because they're so worked up on the things she is reporting and really going deep in the pain with the mentality. And what is the mentality of the American voter now, the American citizen, when it comes to Israel, Gaza? Almost nothing, because it's not talked about. And it's so awful that it's not talked about, because it's not only not talked about and it's happening for real, it's happening on our dime. We're paying for it. The president has immense power when it comes to foreign policy. And if he really wanted to, he can cut the flow off right away. He can do it. He cut the spigot in Ukraine. That would end in 2 weeks. There's no way that Europe would be able to supply. He can cut the spigot off in Gaza, and that would end almost immediately, because we are the #1 supplier to Gaza when it comes to Israel, to kill all Gaza, what's going on. And when you hear terms like controlled starvation, it only equals one thing: genocide and ethnic cleansing. That's what they want. I mean, the only other thing they could be doing trying to kill these people, if they weren't interested in ethnic cleansing and genocide, would be trying to lure Hamas out to come fight them while they're doing this. But I don't think Hamas will do that, because like they say, they're right there on the seas. These are areas. This is what they want. Maybe that'd be the only thing I can see. And even if that is the case, they shouldn't be allowed to do that. That's disgusting. Yeah. And what's going on is disgusting. It is an ethnic cleansing. It is a genocide. We saw the other day Max Blumenthal got thrown out of some place, and some girl was trying to go toe-to-toe with him. And then she turned around. After, what's the definition of a genocide? Then she turned around and started crying. You're not the victim, honey. The IDF is not the victim. Israel is not the victim. The victim here, and the world needs to see, are the Palestinians. And what that kid was saying, man, that was tough. That was deep. And I've even said, we've had these discussions. Well, what do you want now? And what's on your wish list? I had wished for many years that they could stop this situation and the people in Gaza can live in peace. But right now, they're not going to stop until they're completely annihilated. They got everything in place right now. Israel does. They got the presidency of the West. They got the Donald Trump, who will let them do whatever, who's okayed everything. And now they're going to be mass murdered until they're all gone. So now I've even said, I hope they can find a place to seek refuge, because I'd like to see them live. I'd like to see this kid live. But, man, it is a sad situation, Yeah.
Yeah, very sad.
And it's on our dime.
It's on our dime. So this is why we should be furious. And we are. And we're trying to be as loud about this as possible, even fighting against all the censorship and all the deplatforming and all the, criminalizing of free speech and all the misrepresentation, the misreporting of this on purpose. Speaking of misreporting, let's get to the #1 story, because sometimes, once in a while, people with a lot of reach or a lot of pull or a lot of, eyes on them can actually do something about this if they have enough courage. And I was shocked to find out how much somebody like Greta Thunberg was doing, regardless of where she came from in the past. What she's doing right now is pretty phenomenal. And that brings us to our #1 story. #1 top censored news this week: Israel is ready to take military action against the Freedom Fellowship en route to deliver aid to starving Gazans. Greta Thunberg is on board. This is in real time. We're getting updates on the story, but just to update you guys, if you haven't heard what's going on. This was, and I love that the Jewish Voice for Peace put this out. Happening now, 12 activists, including Greta Thunberg, are en route to Gaza aboard the Freedom Flotilla, with the goal of bringing much-needed aid to Palestinians, breaking the Israeli government's genocidal blockade, starving over 2.3 million people. This is Greta getting a little interview while she's en route with Amy Goodman, who we know got Ukraine dead wrong, but she seems to be on the right side on this one. Here's a little clip from Amy Goodman interviewing Greta Thunberg on her way to Gaza.
Speaking to you from the United States, where the South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham wrote on X, "Hope Greta and her friends can swim." Your response?
We can swim very well. It says a lot about their priorities that in the face of genocide and systematic starvation of 2 million people, lawmakers, elected officials whose responsibility it should be to serve the people and to protect the people, that they, rather than ending their complicity in genocide and the mass slaughtering of civilians, are focusing on mocking people who are at least trying to do their bits. I think that says everything we need to know about their priorities.
And finally, your message to Palestinians who perhaps have read about or heard about your voyage or waiting your arrival. What is your message to them?
My message to them would be that we stand behind you in every step of the way. We are standing in solidarity with you. We see you. And I am also my deepest apologies on behalf of the outside world, especially the Western world, that we continue to betray you and that more people are not stepping up. But I promise that at least we here will try our very best.
And she's trying her best. But that tweet she was referring to that Amy brought up is this one from Lindsey Graham. Hope Greta and her friends can swim. Clearly, indirectly threatening her safety. I don't know why that is okay for a sitting senator to do that. With that said, there's a little more to this story as far as how the media is reporting on this, and I'm just going to say this is what they're doing. They are painting her like a crazy person. Greta Thunberg's narcissism has escalated to terrifying levels. This is before she criticized Israel. This is how the mainstream. If you were to Google her before October 7th, this is what you'd get. 15-year-old climate change activist, state of the climate movement, roots of her power as an activist, CNN. Greta Thunberg got the world's attention, but are the leaders really listening? Guardian, Swedish 15-year-old who's cutting class to fight the climate crisis. All great. Good job, because back then she was the face of the establishment machine, told, not just greenlit, handpicked to do that. Well, what happens when she does a real activism for herself, not on behalf of the establishment? This is what you get when you Google her now. The sad tragedy of Greta Thunberg. Spiked. Greta Thunberg and the Gen Z's irrational hatred of Israel. Forbes. Greta Thunberg stands with Gaza as a problem for the climate change movement. New York Post. Greta Thunberg named anti-Semite of the week. Of course she was. Of course she was. And there's that tweet again. So this is what's going on in spite of the work she's doing. And this is the current update I have from Adam, who put this out just a couple hours ago. Breaking: Greta Thunberg's aid ship will be met with Israeli missile boats and elite commando unit if it tries to deliver aid or provokes the IDF. Israel also announced those on board will be arrested. That's where we are right now. Craig, want to give your thoughts on Greta Thunberg's rise and fall or shift, or what is going on with her, and can people see the difference between this and the climate change chapter of her life, that this is definitely different? Unless you disagree, I don't know. I'm gonna hear your thoughts on this.
Yeah, I disagree. This is a psyop. This is once again to divide and conquer. So many people on the right cannot stand Greta Thunberg. The people on the right, and the populist right, the Trump people too as well, when you debate them about climate change, you know, the left seems so over the top that they don't really have a lot of backing behind it, and then Greta represents that segment of that. And then, you know, they've also said they saw that like at certain other places that they had crisis management set up. You got to be careful of these psyops, right? You don't have to get behind a person in a movement. You could say, very well, good for Greta. I don't care for Greta. If I had the opportunity to drop on that flotilla, I would too as well. Share my piece that I have up here because it's been done before. It's been done before by somebody we've had on the combo couch for many years. Cynthia McKinney, relief boat struck. She did this whole thing about the flotilla. This is old news, guys. This is nothing new. What Greta Thunberg is doing, this has been done before. Cynthia McKinney, a former congresswoman from Georgia and Green Party candidate for president, is among 16 activists sailing to Gaza with medical aid. They said they will defy the Israel blockade. Okay, that was in, what year was this? Where's the date? Where's the date?
Here,
I don't see the date. It won't let me get to the whole article. It's down there. December 30th, 2008. I mean, this has been done a long time ago. I think Ken O'Keefe was also on this boat too as well. The activist, the journalist, the guy who goes on press TV all the time, the ex-Marine. He's awesome. He was on that same boat. I think the same flotilla. In fact, Cynthia McKinney spent, I believe, 2 days in a jail for this, an Israeli jail, nonetheless, when this happened. So this has been done before. This is other people, bigger people who've done it before. I certainly would endorse Cynthia McKinney, everything she's done, her line of work compared to Greta Thunberg. But that's what I think they're doing. I think they're using Greta Thunberg to be more divisiveness in it.
Okay, so I hear your take on this.
That's what this is about. I mean, this has been done before.
Can you explain then why she's not being embraced the same way? Like she's not going on MSNBC or CNN. That's not happening. She used to. She used to be on all the time. So you're saying she signed up to be villainized now on all the networks, not just Fox?
Season up. She can be used in any way that she can, if the way the wind blows, whichever way they can benefit off her. You know, Greta Thunberg has displayed many times before that she is a controlled opposition.
Well, I believe she was, but does she have a choice to say no more? I'm out. Like
absolutely not. Once you're in, you're never out.
I'm just saying, is it possible to do the reverse?
Why are they highlighting her? Why are they highlighting her for something that's been done for many people before her to come? She's pulling the same stunt over again. And do you think that Greta Thunberg would really risk her life if she knew that the IDF would kill her? I bet you 1,000,000 to 1 they don't kill her. They just take her and imprison her and do the same thing they did to Cynthia McKinney. I bet you 1,000,000 to 1 that would happen.
The same thing to Richard Medhurst. The same thing. I mean, I'm saying, okay. So you're saying the IDF is cooperating.
They're lionizing her
right.
again.
So we have all these.
Donald Trump.
Wait. We have all these examples of the IDF like murdering their own people. They come out with the white flags. You're saying they can be trusted not to open fire on. I just want to be clear here. You're saying
they already know which boat and there's been an Israeli commander said, make sure, guys, you don't kill anybody on this boat. We have to take them captive. They must come to us alive.
They always do exactly.
You want to bet $1 million that she doesn't get killed? All right, let's bet $5 she doesn't get killed. I'll bet you $5.
They fired.
Do you think that Greta Thunberg has the balls to put her life on the line?
She was on the ship. She was on the ship with aid a few weeks ago. They got fired on. That ship was in process of sinking.
Alive? She doesn't look like she has a scratch on her.
I'm just saying if I'm a controlled psyop, I would even be like, wait a minute. You're telling me that the IDF has done a secret handshake and I'm going to be okay when your own people aren't okay on October 7th. Your own people aren't okay when they're released.
Matt, they know exactly what boat she's on. Okay. They're not going to fire on the boat. This is a stunt. This is
so we could try
the controlled opposition once again. Okay. They don't want real leaders taking place. They want Fugazi leaders taking place. This is just as plain as day.
Okay,
plain as day to me. This is a psyop. Greta Thunberg is participating. And
I'm not ruling it out. I'm
narrative managed psyop. She is not to be lionized in any way, shape, or form. Sorry. Get out of here.
Okay. Well,
no way.
Once a controlled psyop, you never. It's like it's a gang, right? You're in the gang. You're in for life. You can't
kill
leave.
you when you get to her level.
If you leave the gang, they kill you. Okay. Well, I'm glad we had this discussion, and that should do it for.
But can I say something? The actions. That should be the energy, right? We don't necessarily, we all can't get on a flotilla and get into Israel, but we should be saying aid needs to get in now.
Absolutely. Aid needs to get in now. End of story. And that should do it for Top Censored News of the week. All right. I think we are ready to bring in our special guest today. Let me cue this up, the banner here, get the right one on. Okay. Here we go. Boy, Craig, I'm so excited to have this conversation. It's so important because we're talking about censorship. We're talking about fighting on behalf of independent media, the ability to have these conversations. It's not a privilege, it's a right. We have a right to have these conversations. We have a right to report on the news. We have a right to commentate on the news. We have a right to have discourse on the news. We have a right to share and engage with American citizens, with citizens around the world in doing this type of thing. But unfortunately, it's not easy. And not just because the job's hard, because there's so many people trying to stop us. So our guests, I'm going to bring them in right now. They've been doing this for a long time, based out in Chicago. It's the Hard Lens Media boys. They're here to help us better understand the world. Host of Hard Lens Media and the man behind the man of Hard Lens Media. Please welcome back to the show, Kit CABELLO and Daniel LUEPKER.
Hey,
guys.
So, all right. First of all, we're very grateful for this opportunity to be on our show, not on our show, on your show. There you go. Screwed it up already from the beginning. And for us to say our piece. So first of all, Pasta and Matt, you two have been very kind in your words of support and solidarity. And me and Daniel, all we could say is that we owe you a debt. And we know that you have given us, I think, like a 30-minute, 25-minute time window. So we want to be very clear on what is happening with us. So, you know, we're very familiar with the world of censorship, termination, demonetization, and everything. And for the past 2 years, we've been stuck in litigation with, I'm going to be very careful here, former colleagues, friends. And it has been an overall unending nightmare and stress for us. And on Friday, May 30th, it all could have been over. I think me and Daniel would like to have a beautiful life again and for us to live our lives in peace and to pretty much, you know, do things normally, you know, the simplicity of things. We were very reasonable. We were beyond reasonable, I think. And so far, this case, we're facing a copyright case, a libel case, and a labor case. And so far, we have a strong defense. We have a good team. And unfortunately, we are going to have to raise up funds for our GoFundMe. And it's something I hate saying because of the severity of people and the world that we're in right now to come out here hat in hand. We would be wanting to do numerous other kind of things right now than just doing this. But yet here we are. This has cost us emotional and psychological pain. We want this to be over. But in order for us to proceed, we need to obviously pay our lawyers. And from what I have been told, it's going to have to get up to $50,000, maybe even past that. And all of this is going for legal fees. I don't wish this evil on anyone. And I said before, like, and me and Daniel spoke about this too, we want this to be over. We want it to be over. And it came very close on the 30th. Again, as I said before, we were beyond reasonable.
Well, I wouldn't say, I think we hoped it was, but I don't think that was even close to the case.
Fair enough. But look, we're just, I think it's just more of, we are dumbfounded by the stupidity that we're in, because it's stupid. At the end of the day, when I look at this, I would rather be in Iraq. I would rather be somewhere out there in the Badlands in Montana with the hot sun on my back I would rather just be doing anything else that would be far more torturous than this, because when you're stuck in it, you realize that it's the waiting and the process and the overall
process is the punishment.
Yeah, the process is the punishment. Fair enough, Daniel. And you know, it is also the fact that when we have this team, you know, we have been told and advised just overall how to proceed, and we've done everything in the correct manner to protect ourselves. But because of this, and because we have been doing everything possible to keep our mouths shut and quiet about this, you know, there was the hope. And yes, as Daniel pointed out, there was the hope, and maybe it wouldn't happen, but there was the hope, the audacity of it, that it would be over. But because that's not the case, and again, door's still open, but however, while we are playing this game, it is getting now to the point to the other forms of the legality process. And we have to pay our lawyers. Simple as that. Yeah. And we have to raise the funds. And
it's very hard as a YouTube channel to fight multiple lawsuits at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Even because in America, it's still, even if a lawsuit goes nowhere, it's still $10,000 per lawsuit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so, you know, for the people who have shared us, I want to read something here. And obviously, then I want to hand it over to Daniel, because Daniel, I know, has a right to speak too. So let me explain this. Heartlands Media is in 3 legal battles: labor, libel, and copyright. And we need our audience to help us in this fight. This has been going on now for 2 years, and our goal is to see this done and over. We are asking you for your help, as we want these cases done and over, and we want to keep on making content and reporting the news. We've been around for 8 years, and we ask our viewers to stand by our side. Any money raised is for legal fees to fight this insanity in these 3 cases against us: labor, libel, and copyright.
Same time frame.
Yeah. We have a strong legal team, but to proceed for our defense, we have to go past our original goal. I hate saying this, people. Our goal is to build a strong fund so we can see this to the finish. All help is needed. We know that truth and justice is on our side. And I want to read this other update and shared statement that we have wrote as well. The words of encouragement and support from all of you have been wonderful and kind. We are grateful for everything that you are doing to help with our team as we proceed forward. We look forward to the day when all of this is over and it's done. This nightmare must be faced. Please share, and we wish all of you a wonderful day. Peace. I wrote this for Hard Lens and everything else because of why we take this thing seriously, all right? But we find this to be a waste and to be stupid. It doesn't need to happen. It never needed to happen. But because of the process, we're in it. And now, unfortunately, we have to face it in the long run. Now, our lawyers have been very kind and correct in giving us advice to proceed. So for people who are worried about us, know that we have a very good defense team.
If we have the money, we're basically guaranteed to win this. That's effectively the wall that we're fighting, is can we fight this and pay this until the end? That's really the only question.
Yeah. And if we get these resources necessary, we will be okay. And it is about protecting us and the people we love. And so, Dan, I'm going to give it to you. Tell the people how you're feeling. I know that we've talked about this before we got on air, so take it away, buddy.
So this has been a continuous nightmare. And I say continuous, I mean continuous. For 2.5 years, my life has been torn apart because of stuff. I mean, one of the things about this is, at this point, obviously, we still have to be incredibly careful about how we speak. We really shouldn't. We're news companies, and we have been completely censored for 2.5 years to speak an obvious truth, an obvious story, but we're still in that boat. But for me, it's just been, as the main target, or I feel I'm the main target of this, it's just been a continuous nightmare. It's like it feels like anytime I post on social media, a group or I feel a number of people are trying to turn anything I say into a lawsuit. And I feel that for 2.5 years, I've been told or threatened, or however you want to put it, that if I come on Hard Lens, it's going to become another lawsuit. If I speak on social media, I can say that just about every single post that I've made over the last 2.5 years, someone in this group is right there ready to say things that are not kind about me. I've lost clients, or I feel that I've lost clients as a result of this. I've been unable to get employment anywhere else because of the huge amount of content that's been made in my name with the accusations against me. And I feel like we're being punished for telling the truth, not for any other reason. I feel the people that are fighting us, this is what they do like every month. It seems like they just meet up and find new ways to attack us.
Yeah.
And that they're watching everything we do. And within a few minutes of us being on anywhere, one of them is, of course, I think we're seeing in real time here, making sure that we don't get the right to tell our own story, whereas they've been able to speak continuously about this, and they have spoken continuously about this for 2.5 years. But the moment that we say a word about anything, even if it's not related, especially if it's not related, we're immediately threatened with litigation. And
can I say something right now?
Yeah.
Is it okay that you're talking about this right now? This seems very risky because there's somebody in the chat, they're going back and forth. You're mentioning that we shouldn't be talking about certain stuff. Just be careful, because I don't want this to be used.
We're at the point. A lot. Our lawyers okayed us to speak on this topic. The thing that sucks is we can't tell you exactly why. I'll put it this way: we're in a position that a very, very competent law firm has said that we have the right, with conditions, to speak about this publicly. I want you to consider how much would have to be done on another side for a competent legal team to okay us doing this in the first place.
Are you guys right now in the clear on YouTube right now? Do you guys have everything going okay?
Right now, I could speak on that. I could speak on that right now. Thankfully, our YouTube channel was restored. You know, dealing with YouTube, you don't know who you're talking to, and that's like an entire AI program. And the thing is that you know, you don't know if you're speaking to a human being or not, and that was a huge uphill fight to get our channel restored, because, you know.
But I think we're proving in real time that there are people after us, and that literally,
we're seeing it. We're seeing it in the chat for sure.
And so the reality, here's the reality: if enough people see this, enough people cover this, all this information is available through the public court system. So we don't have anything to hide at all. We actually encourage people that have the ability to access these documents to access them.
Okay, so Daniel,
can I just chime in here? So yes, there's people that are coming after you. You're telling that very clearly to us. And on this show, I just want to tell our viewers, the reason we're having this conversation right now is because, as Craig mentioned, we are absolutely aware that there's only so much you can do publicly right now, but we wanted to let people know you were in the middle of a fight. And anything I'm seeing in the chat right now, I'm seeing things that aren't being talked about in this conversation. So clearly that is not coming from a good place, because everything you've said thus far is not, you're not talking about the legalities, you're talking about your guys' personal experience. That's why.
Yes, and it sucks. We have a right. Sorry, Dan.
No. I'm gonna back you guys up. That you guys are doing a very good. The point of this conversation is to tell your human experience and to connect with people. We have an audience that understands how people can come after people. We understand that we are coming from an honest place of trying to do independent journalism. We don't have to know all the details, all the legal details, to know that you guys are good people doing a good show. We can vouch for your show. And I want to tell any of our new followers that have come onto our platform recently that maybe not haven't heard of Hard Lens Media, to let them know that there is a principle behind what we're doing in this space. So we get everybody's back that is trying to have these conversations, keep their channels alive, go for truth, and that we will support that message, even if we don't everybody doesn't have to agree on everything ideologically. The point is that we have the right to have our channels and to conduct ourselves in an honest way. That's why we're doing this right now. So I just want to throw that out, and I'll pass it back to you guys. But I just want to let people know that's why we're having this conversation.
This is the point. Is like, it would be nice if we could just argue this as slop drama for the last 2 years. But we're again, and the other thing that's like destroyed me is that I watched this happen to me, and I'm watching what I feel are a number of other people. And that's actually, so over the next few days, I'm posting my support for people that I see as other victims of this group. And if you go on my X account right now, and it's under my name, you'll see a little bit of what I've already been posting. Kit's been handling this entire lawsuit for the last 2.5 years. I've been having to focus on other things. I've been helping him as well with that. But the thing that hurts me the most is seeing this happen to other people in real time and not being able to do anything about it for the last 2.5 years. So it's not just us. It's what I would see and what I feel is a pretty standardized pattern of
behavior,
action. And so if you're able to pull up my X account, I can show you what I have so far. But it's at this point, we feel like we're in a position where there's literally.
I had your GoFundMe queued up. Do you want me to get to your Twitter?
Yeah, actually, please pull up our GoFundMe. But if I can also add on here too, look, it really sucks to go through something like this, and not to mention it's just the whole process. At the end of the day, it's no fun. It's
all of our money the last 2 years, we've not really been able to pay ourselves individually. All of our money has generally been going to litigation.
Yeah, and the thing is,
I
like,
lost 60 pounds from. I used to have 20/20 vision.
And the thing is, like, this has caused so much emotional stress. I mean, none of this really needed to happen. Period. That's the thing, and we have a right to say, like, hey, how we feel about this.
But again,
we feel that it sucks.
That people do not even want us to be able to speak about this at all. We're not allowed to have any opinions on this subject. I feel has been told to us very directly is sit down, shut up, and you're owned by us forever.
Yeah, and the thing is, we have a right to say how we feel. I don't want to be involved in litigation. I never want to be like what would possess a person to do this, and not to mention do its 3 simultaneous things at the same time
that are internally contradictory. Imagine, Matt, can you imagine if I was gonna sue you for lost employment money at the same time I'm suing you for not respecting my rights as an owner?
So the thing is, like, what I also want to add in here too. What I also want to add in here too is just that, look, we appreciate all the support and love that we are getting for this so that we can fight. All right. Because the thing is, once it's on, we're not professional lawyers. We can't represent ourselves in court, obviously. So when you go to court, I think we all can universally agree you have to get a lawyer to represent you, because I don't know the laws of the federal court system. I don't know. I don't
the most expensive possible way to fight a very simple battle. That's what it feels like. It's almost as if that's the purpose.
And the thing is, like, I'm not familiar with Illinois state law. I'm not familiar with Cook County state law. I'm not familiar with Chicago law. I'm not familiar with federal law. And in order to do that, in order to get the protection necessary, you have to pay for a lawyer to do so. And even going through that process, even that was an emotional toll. Like, this has really hurt us emotionally, financially. And there are people close to us that are also suffering. I would have loved if Friday went differently. I would have loved if things would have differently, because, there's people close to me right now that are battling ailments. And I would rather be spending these final years, and Daniel knows more of the situation, but he has promised me to keep quiet about that. And I won't go into too much detail, but look, I want to spend whatever years left with them in peace, and, I had one person tell me, hey, Kit, what would you do when all of this is over? I'm probably going to go on a little bit of a long sabbatical. I'm speaking only for myself, and, it's one thing to say, like, all this could have gone away. But you see, the thing is, you need a lawyer to represent you no matter what.
Again,
And so the thing is, like, if one side has representation, you need representation on the other side too.
Yeah.
So this has caused us a lot of pain and suffering. And Pasta and Matt,
so,
thank you. Go ahead.
If you guys, just what I'm talking. If you can go on my X account and just pull up my recent Twitter post too, I can talk about that. But it's like, again, it's just like, I wish we could say, because if we were in the legal ability to do so, we would tell you exactly what's happening, why it's happening, but we can't right now. And it feels like that's the structure that we're in right now. That, again, other people are free to say anything and anything that they want at any time, and we aren't allowed to say anything without the immediate threat of litigation, again, even if I'm speaking about something not related to this. Again, I had 20/20 vision when this started. I've literally just, I want the day, and we're going to have to now fight for the day where we can tell this whole story. But it's like, it's so overwhelming what we've been able to show. And I wish I could say more. But what I can do, again, so what my focus is going to be over the next few weeks is Kit keeps managing the getting people for the GoFundMe. By the way, if you're watching this, and for you guys, what we really need is larger creators to pick up the story. Because one of the things that I'm most terrified of is, can you imagine this as a case precedent? So Craig, you're on Matt's show right now. Imagine you get mad at Matt one day, and then you take out a trademark on this specific episode. And then 2 years after that goes into effect, you then sue him.
If anybody does that illegally, they can be caught up in getting sued. So that's why you wouldn't be a case precedent, because you're gonna be putting yourself on the line. In other words, if the other actors are acting in a negative way, in a nefarious manner, just to do this to hurt you, then they're liable to pay that back and then some.
But there's a catch to that.
Well, let's be careful here. Yeah,
I'm being careful. In America, to get to that point, you still need to spend $50,000.
I understand that.
Yeah.
You're right.
Money talks and bullshit runs the marathon, right?
But again,
I'm caught up in a lawsuit right now myself, where it's going to probably cost me 20 grand. But going into this whole thing, having to understand that there's going to be personal disputes no matter what, and I can't get inside people's heads. You know what I'm saying? It really does suck. It's a terrible, terrible situation. But it does come with the territory. I mean, obviously, my Lahaina on Fire Volume 2 has never been released. You know what I'm saying? And I'm still dealing with that shit to this day. But doing what I'm doing, understanding that there's going to be these, and that's what sucks across the board, because there's some of us, like the Convo Couch, which is now the Truth Wire, has been demonetized for 6 years on YouTube. Haven't been able to make a dime. And it's where we were making the majority of our money, and we grew very quickly, very fast. We know this. And we had our nuts cut off right away. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So understanding that there's going to be discrepancies across the board, but I think it's different than when you're involved in a personal suit versus the machine. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But the machine will take advantage of it, and I think that's what's going on with you guys, is that the machine is taking advantage of it. But it does suck when personal disputes do happen.
I also want to say this here too.
And it's like, I feel like we're not willing to be slaves, and that's effectively what we're guilty of.
And I also want to say this here too. Like, look, we have done a lot of good work. Okay. And, anyone can have an opinion about me. I've been called all sorts of names on social media. And you know what? It's like water off a duck's back. I've been called a communist. I've been called a Nazi. I've been called a Trump supporter. I've been called a communist Nazi, a contradictory entity that should not exist, period. The only thing that existed like that was on an episode of The Simpsons, and McVeigh cracked his neck. But the thing is that, we've done good. We've done documentaries about Lake Michigan being polluted. We've interviewed politicians. Daniel, we've interviewed how many politicians, actors, actresses? Like, it's around what, 500 people, 500 plus, around that. And so we love what we do. What we don't love is this unnecessary distraction that's been nothing more than a drill in the head. And that's how we feel. We feel
is going to this. To Craig's point, it's like, you're right that if you get to the end of the case, just a hypothetical unrelated to what we're saying. If you get to the end of a case like that, you're right. it doesn't, because of what you said. The problem is it's a really effective path if someone doesn't have the money to fight.
And the thing is, you know, that's why we need the support. And God willing, someday it'll be over. I know I'll be, no matter what happens, I'll be walking out with a big smile on my face, like, oh, thank God it's over, you know, because life is short. We don't know when our expiration date is. I don't need to be worried about this. We have a right to feel this way.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like it's as if we're being told we're not allowed to feel this way.
You know, I got to tell you guys, just seeing the chat, the guy coming in and doing this, I was gonna just kind of, you know, do the thing we're supposed to do, the blocking and keeping them from attacking people. I guess they weren't really going after any of our other viewers. I would have drawn the line there, but they're just exposing themselves. Like if I just happen to stumble on this show now for the first time and seen the four of us having this conversation, I would be like, what kind of person would come into a conversation? We're talking about the things that we should all care about, free speech. Even if they have a personal grudge against you, this guy, I got to put this one up. This is hilarious. This is the person. These are the people you're going against. This is insane.
No. Wait.
I'm not gonna put it up. But now coming after our show for having this is what we're doing right now is literally being a platform for independent voices, independent media, and having honest conversations and discourse. By the way, if you guys saw the previous segment, even Craig and I were having a little friendly discourse on a topic. That's what we do, but we don't come after each other like on a personal way. So I don't know what kind of impression he was trying to make, but it's not going well. And I mean, for anybody who just stumbled on it for the first time,
and again, it's literally been that for 2.5 years. It's been exactly that. Anytime, again, I have made sure to leave all my I've been forced basically off social media. I felt that I've been forced off social media the last 2.5 years. But again, if you pull up my X account, I have made sure to not delete anything. So from my point of view, if you guys want the whole story, it's out there in court documents. It's out there, and we can't say what's happening, but we're able to say the stuff we're able to say, and we have a very strict path that we have to stay on.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's not that hard to stay on it, and I feel like we're engaging with people who I feel don't have that same level of control over themselves.
And you know, and the thing is, like, look, I'm just gonna say this for myself. I wouldn't look. I have my problems with certain people, but I would never get to the point, because I've had people use my content, and I've had people, you know, see even disparaging things about me. But I'm not just running to any place to start litigation, because you know what? There's a price to it, and you could be rah as much as you want, but at the end of the day, we just want our peace. We just want our lives to be back to normal. And, you know, Friday was a little rough on me because, you know, I was like, maybe this will be it. And we were reasonable. But I think that
we now can't say why, but we now know that was.
We can't say that. But yeah. But, you know, it's just I want to say to the people out there, you know, for any support we can get, it is helping us stay alive. It is helping us stay around. This idea that Hard Lens is like you know, if you're on YouTube, that you're rolling in it. If it's because, I don't know, I put on a nice blazer or something, you're wrong about it. But here we are, and I think at the end of the day, just Pasta and Matt, thank you for having us here.
And you guys have been amazing, and there's so many other people who've been with us since when we talked about this, when that first video came out over a year ago. That it's like our fear originally was that we were going to lose control of the conversation, which I feel was the entire original intent. And everyone would have thought of us as monsters because the lie would have become true because people believed it. But it didn't. And everyone, I think, saw through. And again, the worst thing I feel going through this is the more we prove our innocence, the more things escalate. Yeah. That's that paradox inversion.
Yeah. So there you go.
So is this the one you have pinned? Is that the one we're looking at?
I have a few. So every day I'm going to put out a new one. I'm going to be standing with people who I perceive as sibling victims. And so we're not gonna be able to comment on these, but we are gonna be able to show them since they are public social media postings.
Okay. Do you want me to bring up?
Yeah, you can go through them. I just won't be able to say much, but you can read through them.
Okay. So this is Chicago Corner. We're still here, coming back at you soon. Chicago Corner crew will return.
Yep.
That was May 31st. Okay. So this is okay. Let's see here. So you grab these posts. I'm having a hard time. I'm trying to zoom in on this here.
That's fine. That's fine.
Are you guys able to see it on the screen?
Yeah, we can
we're
see
not the lone targets. Stalking at AMC cheerleader. You're not allowed to comment on this because I just want a little more.
We probably can, but part we want to
just be careful.
We have to create a wall somewhere, and so we can. It's like we can post these, but we can't make the conclusions that obviously someone else could make.
Okay. Well, let me just. So this is what is this sexually harassing? What is going?
This person about the same length as us. The time-wise.
Okay. So the Chicago. So they're working together.
See, the thing is, that is the renamed account. So
that is Chicago Corner.
Yeah. Butch's Crowbar renamed.
Okay. Man, I know we're playing with fire even to get into any of this right now, but I just think the most important thing we can do for you, and like we're here, this isn't, and I want to be clear here, this isn't a favor. This isn't because we're trying to do a good deed. This is because it's the right thing to do because we're all affected by this. We're all in the same space. And I know our audience understands that too. Our viewers know that we have to fight these type of fights together. Even if look, they should come and they should go to your show and watch it. Like I hope our new viewers that are discovering us right now can discover you guys and enjoy the content you guys are putting out there. But
why don't we take that down and bring us up?
We're all fighting. What's that? I'm sorry.
Yeah, why don't we have a full screen of all of us?
Actually, before we do, if you go back, there's one more thing I wanted to show in that. That's pinned.
You want to do another? Okay.
Yeah, there's one other thing that I put up there.
Okay, hold on.
So I'm gonna be putting these out every day because again, it's like, Kit has an online presence. I have Kit, but I worry a lot of these other people don't have anyone else. Then they don't know that there's other people in a similar boat to them.
Okay, I'm getting that little block thing now on StreamYard. Notice. Let me just mess around and get it back here. Okay. Sometimes they have a little. Your screen's been blocked on some. Okay. We'll present that again. Here we go. Okay, so you had another one on here, Daniel?
Yeah, if you scroll down. Yeah, that one right there. Cyberbullying one.
The cyberbullying. Okay, so this is the cyberbullying. Okay.
Well, I should say cry-bullying specifically.
Okay, cyberbullying. I stand against bullying, cyberbullying, and doxing.
Yeah. If you open the first one up.
Okay. Chicago Corner trying to humiliate Daniel LUEPKER. So this clearly they're spending a lot of time with personal attacks. I mean, we can see there's like 4 of them here, and then it goes on. So you're basically screen grabbing all these personal attacks on you as a personal. I mean, this has got to be traumatizing me. I mean, I know you said it basically was, but we're seeing an example of this, so people can go see this for themselves. I don't know if I'm comfortable reading all of these.
So just I'm going to speak completely of something completely unrelated to this. I went to a junior college called Triton College about a decade ago. When I went there, they had a business department. It seems they no longer have one. But that, of course, might to someone else mean that I am fabricating my entire educational backstory, and it might be worth it to try and get me kicked off LinkedIn. Completely unrelated to this.
So let's just kind of get down to the nitty gritty of this, and that is, we have a good team, we have a strong defense, we want our lives back to normal, we want to live good lives. think me and Daniel can say this in agreement. We wouldn't wish this on our worst enemies because of what it can do to a person and also the people around them. I dream of a day when this is gone and I never have to have conversations or phone calls in the afternoon about, what we got to do or how you feeling or how you holding up. So, me and Daniel are going to, push forward and proceed. But we, at the end of this, when it comes down to it, we just need help for our GoFundMe, and all resources, anything in that GoFundMe is going directly to the lawyers because.
And again,
there's no debate about it. That's where it's going to go because it's got to go that way.
And again, I would feel absolutely terrible if people see that this is an effective strategy. That would be like the worst possible outcome from my point of view. Is if people see, yeah, you can do this, and if you can afford or either get pro bono assistance or afford, just hypothetically speaking, as an idea, that you can make it so someone has to spend $50,000 over half a decade to try and prove that you own your own content.
Yeah. All right. Well, guys, I'm happy you had a chance to share this out. I know that some of our audience probably didn't know this was going on at all, so I'm glad they had a chance to see this. And I want everyone to feel part of this fight, even though it's not, they're not in the courtroom with you guys. The point is not to come in the courtroom with you, but to understand that we're all trying to do good work here in the similar space, and we have to be about keeping our platforms alive and going. We all kind of have our own fights. You guys know we've had our own fight here on the Homeless Left as well, and we just have to keep supporting each other. So that's what we want to do. So where can people? They're going to go to GoFundMe and they can find this right now, right? What are they? Yeah. I know the link is long, so if they type in GoFundMe and go to the website, what's the easiest way to get? I mean, we'll have the link in the thing as well.
It's under Hard Lens Media.
Yeah,
okay,
under Hard Lens Media.
Okay.
And
so Hard Lens Media, they can do that. Yeah.
And all we ask is for aid and assistance. And Pasta, I know that you have done phenomenal work with your thing with Lahaina. And something, man, you are one of the dauntless few. And me and Daniel wish you all the best. And just please take good care with everything else you're doing. But now more than ever, this is an SOS from Hard Lens Media. Please help us out.
Yeah, we need as many, for people watching, like as many shows as we can get on to talk about this, if we can get invited on elsewhere, because again, we're at a point where we have to talk about this. We have to raise money. But again, I wish we could. Here's the thing. I'm going to take a step back. It sounds super doom and gloom because of the things we can't talk about. But I want people to know at the end of the day that, now granted, when you're in front of a judge, you can't guarantee anything. However, I would almost stake my life on, if we have the money to fight this and continue to have our attorneys represent us, this is a one case. Like it's sort of, if you want to take away from that, it's that simple. And on top of that, if anyone else tries to do to someone else what's being done to us, people will be able to point to this case and go, yeah, that doesn't turn out really well, which is, again, the outcome that we want to make.
Yeah. So it affects all of us. That's the point. We're all in this together, literally. Thank you guys for coming on and sharing your story. Kit and Daniel, Hard Lens Media, always doing the work that the journalists that call themselves journalists in the mainstream don't want to do. So that's why you guys got to do it for them. So we appreciate everything you've done with your channel. Keep up the good work, guys, and we'll hope to have you back on soon with good news, hopefully soon. So thank you, guys.
God willing.
Yeah, we would love to be able to drop this, because it's like, I just want to say more. It's just like, again, so all I'm going to do over the next few weeks is just speak to how this affected me and try to let the other people that I feel are also victims know that they're not alone. That's effectively what I'm going to be focused on. Kit's been leading the charge on this from the legal side, and I'm going to let him keep leading it. He's been doing it. It's been tough, but we've kept together.
So take good care, folks.
Cool. Awesome, guys. We'll see you next time. All right. There they are. Okay. We'll have the link in the chat, or yeah, the link should be in the chat. If it's not, it'll definitely be on the bio. We'll add that, and then of course when we upload the segment, so you guys can get to the GoFundMe and help these guys out. We're all in this together. Thank you guys so much. We'll be right back with some more Homeless Left, the non-tribal approach to news network. Go get a drink, go get a bathroom break. I'm gonna throw up a card, and we got a lot more show for you guys, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. All right. We are back. We're back, everyone. Welcome back to the Homeless Left. Matt Weinglass here with co-host Craig Pasa Jardula. If you guys are just joining us, don't worry. We got more show coming up. If you guys want to go back, you can watch the replay. We always keep them up on our Rumble channel at the Homeless Left on Rumble. All of our we're on 110 episodes. They're all there on Rumble, 2 years worth of content. Or you can just watch the segments because that kind of cuts the fat out and just gets right to the thing itself. So either way, we're moving on right now with some good topics of conversation.
The thing.
Yeah, the thing. It's the thing. Yeah.
The thing. I got confused for Joe Biden and George Bush. George Bush was you fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice. Wait, you're not gonna fool me again. Or just fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, you're not gonna fool me again. Yeah,
that look in his face.
I did a George Bush for the George Bush.
Yeah, the George Bush look of, how do I get out of this? I screwed up the beginning of this joke. What do I do?
You didn't remember the punchline in that one. Not gonna fool me again. You know what I mean? The thing.
There's an old saying in Tennessee, I know it's in Texas, probably in Tennessee, that says, fool me once, shame you.
Problem with it right now.
If fool me, we can't get fooled again.
Yeah, that is it. That's it. There it is. And then Joe Biden was.
You fool me twice, shame on me.
That's right.
You shouldn't be stupid enough to get fooled. Not gonna fool me again.
Can't get fooled again. All right. We are gonna get into some more of the Trump baiting and switching. There's so much of it. There's so much of it going on at the same time. But this one's a big deal. This is the bill, the big House bill that went through the House. It's not through the Senate yet, but it's definitely through the House. And it's to the point where it's getting a lot of people pretty upset that you would think were more aligned with this bill, but maybe you've had enough with the overspending. This is, let's see, this tweet here. He gets it right.
It's
sometimes.
very blurry.
It's blurry. Damn it. Okay. Well, I'm going to read it anyways. Trump's big, beautiful bill has a provision that bans all 50 states from regulating the federal government's use for AI for 10 years. If this bill passes, all 50 states will be stripped of their ability to protect their own citizens from federal surveillance using AI. It's right in the bill, but who reads bills? Who reads bills these days, right? I mean, here's someone who doesn't read bills, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Full transparency. I did not know about this section on pages 278 and 79 of the bill that strips states of the right to make laws or regulate AI for 10 years. I am adamantly opposed to this, and it is in a violation of states' rights, and I would have voted no if I had known it was in there. We have no idea what AI is capable of in the next 10 years, and giving it free reign and tying states' hands is potentially dangerous. Well, no, not potentially. It is dangerous. This needs to be stripped out of the Senate. Well, I'm glad that you're realizing this after the fact there, Marjorie. Elon, now he is ready to crack. I guess he's ready to walk away, or we'll get into this in a second. But he put this out yesterday, right in the middle of or I guess it was on Tuesday. I'm sorry, but I just can't stand it anymore. This massive, outrageous, pork-filled congressional spending bill is a disgusting abomination. I don't know if he's referring to the AI part. I don't think he's so mad about that part. He's talking about the overall, the numbers and where they're going. Shame on those who voted for it. You know you did wrong. You know it. Although I don't think he has a problem with the military part of it. But he's just saying overall, he's saying this thing doesn't make sense from a mathematical point of view. Guess who agrees with them? Thomas Massie. He's right. And I think he was the only one that voted no in the House. So that was his kind of response to Elon. Here is Trump's response to Elon. Check it out.
But if they picked him, I would have won Pennsylvania. I won it by a lot. But I'm very disappointed because Elon knew the inner workings of this bill better than almost anybody sitting here, better than you people. He knew everything about it. He had no problem with it. All of a sudden he had a problem And he only developed the problem when he found out that we're going to have to cut the EV mandate, because that's billions and billions of dollars. And it really is unfair. We want to have cars of all types. Electric, we want to have electric, but we want to have a gasoline, combustion. We want to have different. We want to have hybrids. We want to have all. We want to be able to sell everything. And when that was cut, and Congress wanted to cut it, it became a little bit different. And I can understand that. But he knew every aspect of this bill. He knew it better than almost anybody. And he never had a problem until right after he left. And if you saw the statements he made about me, which I'm sure you can get very easily, it's very fresh on tape. He said the most beautiful things about me. And he hasn't said bad about me personally, but I'm sure that'll be next. But I'm very disappointed in Elon. I've helped Elon a lot.
Mr. President, I just want to clarify, did he raise any of these concerns with you privately before he raised them publicly? And this is the guy.
And then
there's no more of that. I want that question answered.
It cut off there, but this is funny. Elon saw the tape and he tweeted this out. False. This bill was never shown to me even once and was passed in the dead of the night so fast that almost no one in Congress could even read it. And I guess Marjorie Taylor Greene would attest to that statement. Here's a RBN. Nick, he chimes in here. I'm going to read his response. There's a lot going on here, but I'm going to pass it to you, Craig, here. But this is Nick Cruz's response. RBN. How is anyone buying it? Elon isn't upset over a bill that gives him tax breaks, expands his government contracts, and hooks up his sociopathic friends with their technocracy dreams. People would rather react to theatrics than use critical thinking. We are so cooked. Craig, I'm going to pass it to you. Let's break this down. What is going on? Is this kabuki theater? Is there something happening as far as the MAGA movement is kind of crumbling as far as everybody on board for all the things they're trying to do in this bill? This bill seems like a big problem with overspending, big problem with military, big problem with AI, a lot of problems in it. What's going on here?
Also, it was passed in the still of the night, which gives you more examples of how they're passing these bills. The lobbyists write it, they bring it on in, hundreds of pages to read and 20 minutes to vote. You never get a chance to it. You know what I'm saying? They did this with the Patriot Act. They did this with the CARES Act, right? When it was passed and everything. When they did revisions of it, they just pushed it through. Not everybody could read the bills, not everybody get it through. So you have that problem in itself, and that's what's going on. And people should take, objection with that. They should be very vocal about that part. But of course, all the other actors involved, it does seem very much like kabuki theater. What did Elon really do? What did Doge do? It told you it was cutting all these things, trillions of dollars. When they redid the books, it went down to barely 200 billion, right? Like he didn't do anything whatsoever. There's money over at DOD. That's where the majority of the money that was spent, that's missing, that's gone, that you can get back right away. Did Elon Musk go over there? They said they kind of whispered that they would go ahead and what's the word? Audit the Pentagon. They never did. Right now, that's going to be lost in the wind. That's going to be gone. That's forgiven. That's yesterday's news. Corby Dow is right. The United States, it's gone. So what did Elon do? Nothing whatsoever. And he's gotten contracts to this whole thing. He's going to continue to make money. I mean, he's part of the whole Peter Thiel and Palantir deal signed on in together to work, in conjoint. The technocrats are all attached at the hip now, right? You got Larry Ellison, Sam Altman, Elon Musk, Peter Thiel. They're all together now, buddy. It's over. So I don't believe the kabuki theater. And then they did the little phony fight with Netanyahu. We were reporting on what's going on in Gaza today. Does it really seem upsetting to Donald Trump? Is he really pissed off at Netanyahu? Is going to put him on a leash? Because if he's going to do that, I'd say let some aid really get through without firing on citizens. Stop with your ethnic cleansing, your Operations Gideon's Chariot right now, where you're going to control and seize all this territory inside Gaza while you try to get rid of the people who are living there. I mean, everything we see is kabuki theater. These things will go back and forth. But at the end of the day, the plan is moving forward. You know what I'm saying? The big, beautiful bill went through. It gets some chopping up in the Senate, I'm sure, and then eventually get through. But the money will be there. The money for war will always be there. The money for other and this is another entity of war, what we're talking about. We're talking about a greater war and greater control. So at the end of the day, it's going to be pushed through. It's going to go through. I'm not playing this whole little fake fucking fight right now. There was money that Elon could have found right away, legitimately. Didn't have to change his receipts. but he wasn't going to do it. And here's the thing, too. He gets a lot of government contracts himself. So he's really just, this is WWE wrestling, Matt, at the end of the day.
Yeah. You know, I'm leaning with you on this. I think there's a lot of kabuki theater here. This breakup, we've seen the breakup before. You're 100% right. The Trump and Netanyahu breakup. This is very similar to that.
Just recently.
However, this is confusing a lot of people on their little team sports. So if you were a massive Elon fan and you were part of that whole, the Avengers have arrived. We got RFK, we got Elon, we got Tulsi, we got JD Vance, and we're going to take on this deep state together. Yay. You're really confused about this. And maybe, I don't know if that's the point, is to confuse their own base. The other side of it, and I have to mention this because this is hilarious. I'm seeing a lot of, I didn't grab any of the tweets, but I've seen some people freak out that want to be on Team Blue. And they're like, you're confusing us, Elon. I don't know what are you doing? I don't know who to root for right now. And you're just like, you idiots. This isn't about rooting for someone. This is about understanding that we can be critical of each of these things independently of being part of a team. So the people that are out there, starting fires at the Tesla buildings, they're very confused. They're like, wait, Elon's standing up against Trump. Wait, what happened to our whole narrative that Elon was in charge of everything? And now, but again, the whole thing is theater from the beginning. But I just think it's kind of funny that it seems to be confusing a whole lot of people. I want to bring this because this part kind of brings it home. Rand Paul actually talks about the military spending. He actually says this out loud. This part is the most important because you don't see, you see the AI concerns, but you don't see the military spending concerns. You don't see Elon tweeting about, of course, Elon's not tweeting about the military budget concerns. Rand Paul's talking about, let's hear a little bit of his take on the problem with this bill.
Math doesn't really add up. One of the things this big and beautiful bill is it's a vehicle for increasing spending for the military and for the border. It's about $320 billion in new spending. To put that in perspective, that's more than all the DOGE cuts that we found so far. So the increase in spending put into this bill exceeds the DOGE cuts. When you look just at the border wall, they have $46.5 billion for the border wall. Well, the current estimate from the CBP is $6.5 million per mile. So if you did 1,000 miles, that's $6.5 billion, but they have $46 billion. So they've inflated the cost of the wall eightfold. So there's a lot of new spending that has to be counteracted. But essentially, this is a bill by the military industrial complex advocates who are padding the military budget. There's going to be a lot of extra money. Look, the president has essentially stopped the border flow without new money and without any new legislation. So I think they're asking for too much money. And in the end, the way you add it up to see if it actually is going to save money or add money is how much debt are they going to borrow? $5 trillion over 2 years. Enormous amount.
Right.
So I think that's at least a good thing that was mentioned on CBS. So, I mean, not that, like you said, it's not going to make a difference. The thing's still going to go through, but it is important to point that part out, the excess military from a guy who ran on anti-war. He ran on ending the Ukraine war, ending these, less spending. It's only more and more military spending. So I'm glad at least he got that little tidbit in on CBS there. Craig, what,
the ruling class knows their audience. They know who they got. They know who they're going to get. The once again, the neo-xenophobic. I have to look at it too. The neo-xenophobic people will be for it. All that money towards the wall. That was a promise. He's keeping that promise. It's not just about securing the open borders. We have to close the open borders. We need the extra money. We have to fund Gaza. We have to fund, not Gaza. We have to fund Israel, the IDF, to continue with what's going on. So they understand who they're grabbing. They're going to grab some people. It's not the first time that Rand Paul has gone on TV and talked this way. He's done this quite a bit, him and Thomas Massie, the libertarians that are in the Republican Party within our Congress. It's like the two best congressional people we have. We want an anti-war, anti-imperialist movement. We counted on Bernie to be that person in the Senate. He hasn't. It's been Rand Paul who's been much better. And in the House, we've counted on the squad to take those lanes and fill that up. They have not. They've been awful. They're continue with the Putin rhetoric. It's been Thomas Massie to obtain those lanes. But they've said this stuff before on TV. Unfortunately, people just hear it as white noise. And like we said, it's going to get passed no matter what. But this should be, once again, part of that whole shit line we talked about. We have the Palantir, and we have this big, beautiful budget. We can see that the money's still going to go to the deep state, the oligarchs. There's something that Donald Trump was supposed to be against, and it's obvious he's for it.
Yeah. Well, this brings me to this tweet. This is so important because this kind of sums up everything we've been doing today on today's show, as we're calling it the Trump bait and switch, going on everything at the same time. It's right here from Truth Troll Official. Americans voted for liberty and got Palantir surveillance contracts. Americans voted for Doge and got a big, beautiful bill. Americans voted for fewer wars and less military spending and got the exact opposite. Americans voted to make America great again and got a government obsessed with making Israel great again. Americans voted to finally see the Epstein files and got told again that Epstein killed himself. Americans voted to drain the swamp, and the swamp just changed suits. Americans voted for free speech and got ADL blacklists, censorship algorithms, and anti-Semitism laws criminalizing dissent. Americans don't get what they vote for. They get what their foreign handlers decided months in advance.
Yeah, I would say too.
Here's the visual. You got to put the visual.
Yeah.
Here's how it started. Here's how it's going. And that's the real start of it, right? All the way till now. Look at that. That's the history of the United States, all in a nutshell. Take it away, Craig.
Well, it's more than just the state of Israel, too, as well. It's the technocrats. It's the World Economic Forum. It's the Bilderbergs. It's the people behind the scenes who we were supposed to be washing out. It's more than just Israel. People have to understand that. Israel is definitely getting what they want as they're going along. Everything that their ethnic cleansing, their colonizing project is coming to fruition, and they're getting exactly what they want. I wouldn't deny that. But the technocrats are also getting what they want in the situation. And that's something else that a lot of people need to be talking about. Elon Musk is once again performing a kind of like kabuki theater, but he's getting everything he wanted. And since day 2, when Sam Altman and Larry Ellison were up there, it's been that way. Everything that the populist right was supposedly against, they are now going along. They're on that ride. Now, if they want to dissent and jump off, now is the time. It's been beyond time. I think that this is also part of the shit line we talked about, but there's a lot more than just Israel winning. It's something even bigger is happening under Donald Trump, and it was by design. He was meant to be there because he was the guy to get you guys to go in, and you're going in.
Yeah. Well, I hope more people, again, we started the show with this, like just hoping that there's more people that maybe had voted for Trump that are regretting it now. And it's not about looking in the past. It's just seeing that all of these things have been lined up against us for months. As the previous tweet pointed out, this was months in advance. This was the selection. These aren't elections we have. These are selections. So everything seems to be fast tracking. I thought, Biden got a lot of shit done against the American people for a very short period of time. I didn't think you could rapid fire faster than that, but we are rapidly firing all of these things at the same time, and it's only been a few months. We're not even we're not even an eighth of the way through this term. Are you kidding? Are we not even 6 months through this yet? Wow. This is bad. This is bad. What is it going to take? How are we going to? We need more people protesting. We need more people speaking out. We need to align a real populist movement. I don't know what else to say here, Craig, but these bills are going through. You think you're 100% right. The big, beautiful bill is happening, and Elon is just pretending to be pouting about it. But it's happening all right. But we need more Thomas Massey's and Rand Paul's for sure. Okay,
more of us. We need to start.
More of us. Well, I mean, that's a given. More of us. Yeah,
we need to start doing something.
We're trying, man. We're trying. And more of people out there watching and supporting us as well, obviously, and having this conversation. Craig, I think that's for the bait and switch, Trump MAGA bait and switching. I think I'm a little bait and switched out here, if you ask me. But how are you feeling?
No, it's been bait and switch. That's the best way to describe it.
Yeah. Okay. You want to do one more story?
Let's do one more story.
Okay. And we're going to bring Jamie CheeseSlice in to do some talking back with you guys as well. So just get those comments, questions ready. We did have some crazy stuff go down with our previous guests. So we'll be talking about that in the you guys, it's in the chat. We'll be talking about you guys with that on talking back a little later, but let's do one more segment now. And I think we might have one more after that. So a lot more show for you guys here, but last segment of the day with co-host Craig Pasta. Let's talk about the Democratic establishment players, people in power, whether they're in journalism, whether they're in a position, a political position, literally a political position of power. It seems that a bunch of them recently are quote unquote leaving the Democratic Party or leaving the establishment, going independent, telling all, writing books. They want everyone to know that they've changed their ways and they're seeing the light. It's pretty remarkable, but it is about selling books, and it's about, I guess, not incriminating yourself, as history will tell who were the bad actors when we look back at this time. So right now, the newest one up to go independent and try and sell a book is former White House press secretary herself, Karine Jean-Pierre. She has officially left the Democratic Party. And as she become independent, she actually has a book. I kid you not. Let's put this up. So she is leaving it. This is from ABC, former White House press secretary. She's leaving the Democratic Party and becomes, quote unquote, independent. What's next? It's the book. Here's the book. Pretty interesting from Eric Daughtry. Pretty interesting how Jake Tapper, if you guys remember that, we reported on that. That's the one on the right. That's called Original Sin. Jake Tapper, Democrat reporter, we'll say establishment reporter, who covered up for Biden. And now Karine Jean-Pierre, former Democratic official who covered up for Biden as well, are now both selling books centered around bucking the very Democratic establishment they upheld for years. Here's another one. This one, I don't know if this one's so much selling a book, but this is definitely to relieve their own liability in the war crimes of Israel. But another establishment player, former Secretary Department press secretary, Matt Miller, he's trying to whitewash now his covering up of Israel's war crimes in Gaza. On a podcast, he admits that, yes, they actually did occur. The very thing he denied for a year as an official. Let's play a mashup of Matt Miller now versus when he was lying on behest of Israel. Yeah, this is insane that these people are doing this so quickly after they left office. But here we go. Matt Miller giving away the game after he's out of office.
Site where Hamas is hiding inside a school, other militants are hiding inside a school. Those individuals are legitimate targets, but at the same time, they're embedded near civilians. Israel has a right to try and target those civilians.
Gaza has been such a horrific situation for so long.
It's not productive to call on Israel to stand down on any one military tactic.
The effect of that war was crushing. Crushing. To look at what was happening to children every day in that war.
How is it to come that UN, Human Rights Watch, Amnesty, International Criminal Court can all find compelling evidence of war crimes by Israel, and the United States, with its enormous powers of intelligence and direct contact with Israel, can't find those things?
I would say that different organizations have different burdens, different responsibilities, and we take ours very seriously and are taking these assessments very seriously and want to finish them as soon as possible, but it's important that we get them right.
Gaza has been such a horrific situation for so long.
Don't you think that's something that the State Department should consider launching an atrocity determination on, given that you've also said in your NSM report that it is possible that there may have been violations?
So we do have processes ongoing to look at whether there have been violations of international humanitarian law.
Is atrocity determination one of them?
I'm not going to speak to that in specific, but that's why the president says the answer to that question is uncertain, is because we don't know the answer.
To look at what was happening to children every day in that war.
So despite these assessments, you think there is no change in the U.S. policy to continue providing arms to Israel?
There is no change in our policy. As you know, we've paused one shipment. We have not, but we have not changed our overall policy, and we will continue to support Israel's security.
Gaza has been such a horrific situation for so long.
We have always made clear that we are committed to the defense of Israel. We will continue to support the defense of Israel.
I think it is without a doubt true that Israel has committed war crimes.
There it is. There it is.
Mm-hmm.
There it is. And then the podcast, the guy he's talking to on the podcast, he says back.
You wouldn't have said that at the podium. Yeah, look, because when you're at the podium, you're not expressing your personal opinion. You're expressing the conclusions of the United States government. The United States government had not concluded that they've committed war crimes. Still have not concluded that.
But your personal view is they have.
And
they were while you were there.
But yes.
There it is.
Yes, but let me talk my way out of it really quickly.
Yeah, that's it. So he's saying that's the job. So these jobs they're not real jobs. Isn't this enough for people to see? Like whether it's Jake Tapper, whether it's what's her name, Jean-Pierre, whether it's Matt Miller, are people understanding now that these jobs are not they're not real? They're just lying mouthpieces. They're just theater. Why do we even waste our time listening to anything that any of these people have to say when they're in a position where they're given top-down instructions of what lies to tell every day, and then when they get out of the job, they tell us that they were given these lies to tell every day, and then they, like you said, it's not my fault that my job was to lie for them. Now I can tell you what I really think. So why are we listening to any of these people ever again? How can anyone still support watching CNN or let's hear what the press secretary has to say, whether it's Biden, Trump, anybody's press secretary? Why should we listen to any of this ever again? I mean, you and I know that answer, but I don't know how anyone else
when you listen to it, you understand that that's coming from the perspective of the government, right? Like he was even saying, I have to speak for the government. I can't speak personally. But there were other people who were in his position, maybe not at the podium, but within that cabinet that resigned because they refused to tell those lies. And that's how we would have known Matt Miller would have been like a real G if he would have done that, if he would have given up his position and said, I can't do this no more in good faith, and had the same podcast while it was actually happening, right? No, instead he waited until he was done. Same with Jean Pierre, who's probably the worst press secretary of all times. I mean, she was just so
bad,
unaware, just such a, just completely, she was an activist tied to the woke movements. And that she expressed that every single day over there. You know what I'm saying? I mean, she's a Haitian woman, and while Haitians are getting slaughtered and getting starved out of their own country, she was silent on it. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I really don't care to hear from these people, but, that is something that's a quagmire of ours, is that people will still condone it. They will say, oh, he has to say that in his position, otherwise he wouldn't have that position. Well, then good. Quit your position. You know what I'm saying? Leave your position. They were saying this about Tulsi during her confirmation hearing and RFK during his confirmation. If they don't say these things, they won't get confirmed and they can't do the job they need to do.
Yeah,
we can't make excuses for those people. Then that's the old way of doing business. And then where has it gotten us? Nowhere.
Yeah,
we want people to be pioneers. We want people to be voice the truth of what's going on and being truth tellers. So if they're going along to get along, they can never ever be trusted. And that's just the end of the day. Not to mention when it comes to Matt Miller and Jean Pierre, they're both very boring too. So it's a good thing. I don't know who wants to follow them. I'd rather watch paint dry than hearing those guys talk on a podcast.
Yeah, who's actually gonna buy these books? Are you really really these books? This isn't. I mean, and she puts a picture of Independence Day. That's what it looks like to me. It looks like the movie. It looks like the Will Smith movie poster from 1990.
The UFO behind the cloud there.
Yeah. So you're telling us, like, because that's the imagery you're using on the cover, and you want to make money. You want people to buy this thing. It's pretty disgusting. I don't know who would buy this. I'd rather go watch Will Smith in Independence Day than read this book. Yeah, I said it. I'd rather watch that because at least you can go back and go, did we have these graphics back in 1996? Oh, it's interesting. But no, this is all theater, and she's telling us that. They're all telling us that it's all theater. But we knew this. It's like they can't even wait like a year or two. They got to do it right away.
You just got to think about the mentality in which the social engineers and the ruling class say it's okay to release these things, that people will still accept it. And it's a form of conditioning. These books are actually a form of conditioning. You don't have to read them. You have to see it. Oh, Jean Pierre left the Democratic Party, whatnot, and she's going to say this stuff. Oh, Matt Miller is saying that he knew stuff was going on, but he couldn't say it because he was representing the government. Oh, no, duh. I mean, but, you know, it is a form of conditioning, right? They're conditioning us to say that this is how it is. It's corrupt. The whole system's corrupt, but accept it.
Yeah.
You know how many times we people, oh, that's been going on for years. Yeah, but that doesn't make it okay.
Exactly. Well, I want to throw Max up here because he definitely chimed in on this one. Matt Miller from Max Blumenthal, a real journalist. Matt Miller says it was his job to deny Israeli war crimes and that he knew were taking place. Imagine the level of sociopathy required to perform that task for almost 2 years, day in and day out.
There's a lot of sociopaths out there.
Yeah. And he's just saying it like, oh, yeah, that was my opinion, but I had to lie on their behalf. So he's saying it on the podcast and like he's doing it like with no shame. So that's good for Max pointing that out. And there it is. There's Ryan Clark asking, will Max Blumenthal ever get an apology from Matt Miller? I think we know the answer to that question. I think that was a rhetorical question, but we know that what Max went through is trying to do real journalism with real integrity, getting a stare back like that face of Matt Miller doing his job, which is protecting the war machine, psychopath, genocide, money laundering scheme. That's the face you get. It's literally like a Joker face. It's a Batman villain. That's what you're looking at. But no, that apology is not coming, and I don't think any of us are holding our breath for it.
Yeah. And I think Jacob Bitterman put it best, KG. The books bought by donors will be bought by donors, just like outrageous speaking fees. You know, that's what they'll do. They'll have some events where she'll be speaking. The person who booked the event, you know, who's just spending money to write off anyways, going to purchase like 500 of those books, and everybody who shows up will get a book. It will be in the ad. You get up, you get the free book, and have shit like that go on to get rid of some of these books. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. The donors buy a bunch. And it is sad because not anybody, I don't know who would be interested in that stuff. Like I said, two of the most boring people, the two most full of shit, but two of the most boring people out there. So, yeah.
All right. Well, I think that wraps up that story. I was going to maybe do one more. We can do it later. Maybe. I'm going to bring Jamie in a little bit here to do some talking back. But Craig, do you have anything you want to leave the audience with before you go, or anything that we missed, or you want to let us know what you're doing next?
Well, you know, today's show was very interesting because we came out of the gates firing, talking about a lot of things and talking about this could be a turning point for a lot of people within the populist right movement, right, in the Trump camp, to say enough is enough. And I did kind of comment that would it have been nice to hear about this stuff almost a year ago because we were talking about it. And I just think it's important to have different voices out there across the board because our voice was one of not a tribal voice. It wasn't a team A versus a team B. And that is what's really much pushed and shown in our discourse today when it comes to mainstream media, the tribal stuff, red team versus blue team. They want to silence out the voices. They want to make sure that we can't say these things. And it's not important that we're here because we got things right. It's important we're here because we provide a different perspective. And I think that's what's important right now because there's more than just two perspectives when it comes to a lot of these situations, which happen with us internally, locally, globally. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to say that, hey, I'm glad that we're sitting here doing this stuff today, but come here where you get a non-tribal perspective so you can get some ammunition to talk about stuff when you're around the dinner table with the family. Because I think that's what's important right now is to provide other solutions outside the two-party duopoly because that is the most dangerous thing because they're working together. Look what's happening with Palantir. Look what's happening with the big, beautiful bill. It's the same old stuff. It's moving forward. It's just a continuation of the last administration. The establishment is the establishment. It's on both sides of the aisle, and we need to push back on it. So if you want to see more of our stuff, tomorrow at 1 p.m. On the Truth Wire, we have Kyle Anzalone on from the Libertarian Institute to go talk about what Palantir is all about. We're going to get a little bit of a libertarian perspective because the libertarian perspective really should speak to those in the MAGA movement who were constitutionalists. So we'll have that conversation tomorrow. You can catch the Truth Wire 12:30-ish, 1 o'clock-ish, Mondays and Fridays. I do my show on WBAI Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern. had a great show yesterday. So that's where you catch our stuff. And of course, I'm here on Thursdays on the Homeless Left with my boy Matt Weinglass. Thank you once again, Matt. Love the conversation. Let's keep fighting, baby. Let's keep moving on.
Absolutely. Thanks, Craig. We'll see you next time. All right. Craig Pasa Jardula bringing us the Thursday flavor. Man, we got through a lot of stuff today. We still have more show. So guys, I think we might be ready. Hey, Jamie, give me a thumbs up. Do you think you're ready to get going on this? Okay, let's do this. And then I will have one more story when we're done. We're going to do a we know what it's not. So guys, so get your questions ready. We're going to try and do as many as we can. We can't do it for too long, but we want to get as many of you guys as we can and have some feedback, some perspective on what we went through today. There was a lot of great conversation. So without further ado, what I'm going to do, I'm going to play this new intro. And I know he's not going to 100% like it, but I know I'm going to get a laugh. Let's see. We'll let him decide. But we created a new little, what do you call these? These are like jingles. Well, it's a jingle. It's the same, the one we have for Leslie, but this one, we just did a little switch up. So let's see if this one flies. Let's see if it hits. Okay, it's time for Talking Back. This time with CheeseSlice. Here we go. There he is. Jeremy CheeseSlice on the ones and twos, back in front of the camera, helping us out with Talking Back. How'd you like your new intro there?
I like it. It works. It works. People ask what kind of cheese. I'm like, well, it could be a slice of pizza, right? My original thought, though, is like just a slice of American cheese, like the crappy stuff that comes in the individual wrappers. But, I like better cheese than that.
Yeah.
But yeah, a cheese slice pizza, that works too.
There we go. Okay, cool. Well, let's get to some of this. I know today we had the conversation with Kit and Daniel, Hardlens Media, talking about censorship. That one got a little racy. We've been talking about Palantir. We've been talking about the big beautiful bill. A bunch of other stuff going on. We obviously Israel. We've been talking about the top censored news and all the war crimes and all the protesting, and we had a little friendly debate on the Greta Thunberg situation. But let's see what the people have to say about it. Jamie, what do we got?
All right. Well, let's go start back from the start of the show here. You play that video at the very beginning with the Zion talking about trying to basically censor anti-Zionists, calling us like we're the problem. The people asking for peace and asking for like acceptance and no censorship. We're the ones who are the problem. So this is from Which to Go. Zio scum Matthew Miller looked like he was thoroughly enjoyed the genocide. He's a war criminal. So that was from early on.
Yeah.
I mean, I just agree with that. So
yeah,
like that video is really hard to watch. It's like I wouldn't even want to share it just because it's so bad. Like it's so irritating, but I know you have to share it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's I mean, it's to remind people how bad it gets. If you're not affected by it, then that's a major problem. But we know our audience will be, and that's the point. So we have to remind ourselves this is not okay, and that's why
we're all affected by it.
We have to share it out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So from All Sentient Beings, oh hi, thumbnail is fire. What's happening in the world is such a bunch of BS. So this also was during the intro, but just saying hi. Well, glad to be here. I like your thumbnail today.
Oh, cool. I'm trying to get better with those as far as not so crazy chaotic, because I know we do tend to do those, but I think it's cool. Thank you so much, All Sentient Beings.
All right. Zootzilla, also this is from early on. We need to stop the genocide. But yes, I agree, Zootzilla. That's really what our position is, and that's the main point that the anti-Zionists are making. They're against the killing of a group of people.
Yeah, exactly.
But somehow the anti-Zionists are the Nazis. These people are masters of projection.
They are. And they never have to give us any proof. They just have it's their feelings that really all they have. They feel like the Palestinians want to kill them. They feel like the Palestinian babies are going to grow up and want to kill them. They feel these things, and the feeling's enough. They feel that if they want on October 7th, they wanted to kill all of us if they could. you feel, we don't have to even go with feelings. We got it right. We got literally your war crimes right here in our palm of our hands. We don't even have to go what they want to do. What you are doing, you are having barbecues in front of people starving. You are trying on lingerie of women you just murdered and sharing them on social. You are you are murdering aid workers and medics, and you are targeting and blowing the heads off of babies, and you're laughing about it. So yeah, I don't think we have to go with any feelings, but it seems to be all they have are the feelings, and that seems to be enough to push this stupid anti-Semitism is the worst thing we have imaginable in this country right now. It's all feelings; they're made up. They're
and it's
not
working
real.
on a lot of people in the country, sadly. They've been doing this for decades. They're experts at it. It's starting to crack. I mean, you see a lot of people rejecting it, but there's still a significant portion of the population who buys into it.
Yeah.
Which is sad. Listening to the a-hole advocating for repression of free speech, which is critical of Zionism and anti-genocide, was sickening. Yes, Molly Littlebird is representing my feelings on watching that video as well.
100%.
I think this audience kind of gets that is going to give you like 99% of this audience are going to give that reaction.
Yeah.
All right. Also from Molly Littlebird, this was about the child that was speaking about from Palestine and what they are doing to the what do you call them, the survivors, the refugees, if you will. So she says, it is so horrific that a child this age is having to speak about this genocide. And that kid was right on, spot on. I just wish it was in English so more people here would actually hear what he had to say.
So when I pressed play on that, I realized, okay, yeah, we're going to have to slow it down and narrate. And we always sometimes we have that issue with there's a timing issue and I got to pause it and we have little technical issues. What I did feel bad on top of that, I felt bad that we're having this kid tell his story in the middle of a top censor, like a countdown. And like, these are the moments I feel like we're not even doing it justice. It's not even fair. And no one else is playing it. We don't see it on any other news. Obviously, not even the newly, black-pilled Pierce Morgan, which is, again, that's just him going, oh, I didn't realize. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
I know people are really tough on Pierce, but my feeling look, at least he's had the voices on the last like 2 years, right?
So he's had the debates, but he's played dumb. Now he's had this aha moment. Now he's getting attacked by Zionists. Not even he is going to make time in his show to give that boy the attention he deserves. He deserves the platform. And so here I am trying to read it, translate, slow it down, work on the tech. And I got it in the middle of a countdown of top censored news. And it's frustrating, man, because I know like it touches that emotional chord in us. And I can't even do it justice. We're trying our best, but there's so many boys like that didn't get on camera or that aren't being. We don't even know that they're screaming out loud. They're screaming help right now. We're not seeing it, and it sucks. But we're doing what we can, I guess, the best we can.
And what he said was very powerful and very important. And coming from a boy in that situation, it really sends the message home. But because it's not in English, it's so easy for so many people to just ignore it and just not even pay attention to it because you have to read. But I mean, if somebody else gave that same speech, like just anybody, like if you did it, nobody would care. But because the kid is over there experiencing it right now, it's so much more powerful. But it's easy to ignore, and it's just so frustrating. A lot of people just tuning it out. But I know, I mean, but the thing is, you do see it is starting to creep through. Like there's so much of this stuff on the internet. Even people who were taking Israel's side from the start can't ignore it anymore.
Yeah. So,
maybe the tide will turn, but I'm still skeptical. Like these guys are so super duper powerful.
Yeah.
But hopefully, I mean, we're up against a juggernaut here. All right. This is from Which to Go, and somebody else posted something too, but he had the quote in here. So maybe we should wait on this, but this is a quote from Twitter. I believe this was Elon Musk's Twitter account he did during the show. Time to drop the big reality bomb. at real Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That is the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day, Donald Trump. So this is from Elon Musk tweeting on Twitter. And I looked up the tweet. It is there. Unfortunately, I didn't get it screen shared. So it's something I think we'll have to look into a little bit more. So there looks like there is a war between Elon and Trump now. Like the bromance is over. But Elon got what he wanted. He was able to gut the public sector. So
Jamie, thanks for grabbing this one. It's hard for us to, we have to cross-check and double-check, but if we're in the middle of a live, it's hard to tell. But and then Wishigo, obviously, we trust Wishigo has been a great, loyal viewer, participant in our show. That does change things. It changes my conversation with Craig. We know Craig Pasu. We know he's right out of the gate. He's going to tell us this is kabuki theater. I try to keep a little more on the fence approach, just because you don't know, new information comes up like this. It might change things. It might be at least worth a follow-up discussion on why would Elon be allowed to say this if this was still theater, like Craig said. Yeah. This seems like there is a problem. There is a crack in the dam, a real one. That's from this. If this checks out, which it sounds like it does, we got a problem if he is blaming the Epstein file non-release on the president of the United States, who he helped get elected. This could be a massive problem. Now, of course, we know there's more than that of why it's not being released. Who knows? Maybe Elon's trying to get cool with the people he lost. He lost all of his environmentalist lefties. They hate him now. They're burning up the Tesla.
Yeah, he needs to get Tesla back.
And saying these things might get them to go, oh, did Elon get out of his horrible spell Trump had him on for the last couple years? Is he back with us? Oh, because they were sharing that out, right? The left loves sharing out, because Trump's on the list. That's what it's like. Yeah, everyone's on that effing list. You guys know that, right? That all your Democratic people are also on the but they always focused on Trump. Well, here's Elon focusing on Trump on a tweet. This is pretty insane. I do think this changes things enough to have a follow-up conversation about it and keep our eye on it for sure.
Yeah. And Pasta like to say it's all kabuki theater, and I agree to a certain extent it is. I agree with the WWE analogy, but something a lot of people who aren't big fans of WWE know is there's a thing called a shoot where the wrestlers are actually having a real beef with each other when they go on stage. And they really are fighting because it's like a personal thing. And they call that a shoot. It's a real thing. So maybe this Elon Trump thing is a shoot in the WWE theater that is our political system.
And if we want to relate it to artist performing, there's actually a term called, so out of the wrestling ring, but onto the stage, there's a term called performance art. And performance art is where you cross the line of reality. You might be in some sort of character that is designed to get a reaction, but now that character is participating in real life happenings, interacting with people in a real way to get a reaction that's not scripted. It's about mixing breaking that fourth wall and mixing it up. And so whatever that fourth wall is in this analogy, I think that Elon broke it here. And I think that
breaking the script.
Yeah,
you're breaking the script, not necessarily the fourth wall.
Yeah, so he's off script. He's off script. He's ad-libbing off script. And the performance art of it is that we don't know what this is going to lead to. We don't know the reaction, the results, the consequences. We don't know the consequences of this tweet being out in the interwebs, as they say. But let's see what happens. We got to keep an eye on this for sure. Thanks, Wishigo, for the comment.
Yeah, I did find it here. Give me a second. Oh, here it is. So just so it's not BS. He didn't just make it up. It's actually there. So here's the tweet.
Yeah.
Time to drop the big reality bomb. Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That's the real reason they have not been made public. So that was the tweet from Elon. So
wow.
Right. It might be a big deal. There's the bromance is over.
The bromance is over. Okay. Well, we got to keep an eye on this because and look, our audiences know that there's more to Epstein than just Trump's on the list. Clearly, we're talking Mossad. Obviously, Elon's not going to go down that part of it. So this is just a very layered, 2-layered, 3-layered, but it's more layered than that. But again, this will shake things up for reals and not a joke. There's going to be consequences for this tweet. Let's just keep an eye on it. But yes, thanks for sharing that. We should go.
All right, and the next one here from Molly Littlebird again. Correct. They're the ones making the world hate them, and now they're the victims again. She's talking about Israel. I think this was part of the Greta Thunberg story.
Yes, that's.
Oh, this is Leslie. Leslie speaking to Molly
is
Littlebird.
responding to Molly Littlebird. But yes, correct. Absolutely.
So Leslie summed up Molly's comment a little bit better.
Very
so
good.
I picked this one. Then there's some Greta fans in our chat. Here is Go Greta, bless your heart, from All Sentient Beings. And Molly said it'll be interesting to see if the Israelis bomb her boat with the international attention. I don't want to see it happen. I don't want to see that happen at all. I mean, however you feel about Greta, I think I don't know what to think about her. I think she's definitely being used. Now, is she in on being used? I don't know, maybe, but
do you think a shift has happened with her when she was the handpicked, selected face of the environmental shit? Has that changed, or she's still?
Look, I think she started out organic, and then they saw her what impact she was having, and then the vultures swooped in, grabbed her, and found a way to use her, and then they elevated her to help their agenda, right?
Well,
But
I mean, I don't.
now that green
on
stuff
how
has
it
kind of
began.
gone to the wayside, I think they kind of got rid of her, but she still wants to be an activist. I think that's a certainly plausible scenario.
It's plausible that her use had been done. They were done.
They're done using. They're done
because
with
she
it.
got too old to have that young face anymore,
Yeah.
right?
I mean,
Maybe
people
that
think of her as a teenager, but she's like what, 22 now?
she's 25 or something.
No,
But
she's not that
she
old.
was able to pretend there was an element of innocence and youth that they were able to kind of keep her in that state for so long because she kind of kept that
Mm-hmm.
youth look. And then there was a moment they're like, we're done with, we don't need this anymore. That's a plausible scenario. And then she kind of, so even though Craig is saying, I get it, he's saying once you're captured, you are always captured. Once you're initiated in the gang, you can't leave the gang.
Not if she's a true believer. Like if she's a true believer, they're manipulating and using her real belief in doing good altruistic activism, but then she's being misguided into doing the psyop, right? So she's been compromised, but she doesn't even know it.
I just don't know who. I just don't know who's compromising her. Like I don't get this because you Google her now and it says that she's lost her mind. She's a narcissist. She's an anti-Semite.
Yeah,
she
they're
hates
burning her.
Jews. That's right now. That you never had anything hit on her except maybe a Fox News piece about
it was
how.
the right. The right was.
But you had enough of CNN, MSNBC. You had enough of that to make her this face of goodness and humanity. That's not it. So I'm only making that distinction that goodness and humanity should equate to being on the side of Palestinians. That's what it should. So we're not seeing that on Google. We're not seeing that line up. So I'm just trying to figure out who is the one that is using her because it can't be the same people that were using her before. It has to be a different people.
If she's being used at all anymore. It's because it's possible she was thrown away, but she really believes in the activism and she's a do-gooder. And now she's acting on her own because she's been given the tools to know how to do it now.
Yeah.
And I want to be who are using her.
I want to be clear.
A possibility.
I don't care what theater is taking place. This is dangerous shit. If you're going to put somebody in a boat, go out into this area where we have a history of the IDF of Israel shooting down ships. There's a strong history of them murdering people who are trying to come into Gaza. So don't tell me you are 100% convinced that she's totally safe. Even if there's a secret handshake, there's no way you're on that boat right now and thinking, yeah, we got this. Everything checks out. You can trust Israel. They told us, wink, wink, that she'll be fine. I don't believe that she's totally safe. There's no way. How do we trust Israel? They never do anything they say they're going to do or not do. Are you kidding?
Yeah. Jungle Jair says there are 11 other activists on that boat. Some of them are legit, and the entire trip is not a psyop. See, like I don't know what to think about Greta. I don't like the possibilities. She's totally compromised. It's very real. I think it's a plausible explanation, but I don't think it's the only explanation. There are other real possibilities here, and I'm trying to give you something a little more reasonable. But there's the other side of the spectrum, which is no, she's totally legit. She's completely doing this because she really believes in it. She's not a psyop at all. That's the other thing, the spectrum. And I think the truth is somewhere in the middle there, where, but I don't know. I don't really know what it is. I don't hate on her. But some of the stuff she's been involved in has been obnoxious, but I don't necessarily think she's wrong.
Okay. Well, this is why I like to take the approach of I shouldn't call it sitting on a fence. It's about keeping in an open space, paying attention, looking at all the options, and it's okay to lean 60-40. It's okay to come back to 50-50. I just don't want to make any conclusive, affirmative statements on something that seems to have a lot more complexities. And Jungle Jared points that out. It is complicated. If you have 11 other activists on the boat, we can't possibly know for sure that all 12 of these people have this deal on paper and it's been handshaked and it's super clean and everything is locked in and it's one big 100% theater. We can't know that. So let's keep open-minded about what's really going on, because things can get a little complicated that way. And so let's just be open to that. That's all I'm saying. So I think we can agree on that.
I mean, is it fence sitting to say you don't know? Like, I can't.
No, it's not
a determination. I don't have enough evidence to convince.
I want to move on. I want to move on to some more comments, but it's never fence sitting. It's never like, no, you cannot know something and be smarter about the topic than anyone else. And they tricked us into thinking that when you were an undecided voter, do you remember that undecided voter meant that you're an idiot, you're stupid, why can't you make up your mind? No, that we were taught that wrong. When you don't commit, it means that you're taking more time to thinking about something and looking at it and not just being on team whatever. I don't care. So no, we can take our time with these things. The Greta Thunberg situation is very interesting to me. It's something might be happening there, and that's why we put her in the show. There's no way I'm going to report on this and say I've made up my mind that she was a psyop before, so therefore she is now. I'm not going to say that 100%. I'm just not going to do it.
I'm with you.
The comment, Jungle Jet.
Now, the undecided voter thing, since you brought it up, it's like I fall in that category, but I'm not undecided. I'm decidedly not voting for Republicans or Democrats.
Right, but then what are you going to do with it?
Decidedly abstaining.
But then the undecided
is fall in with the undecideds.
So the undecided is, what do you do then if the third parties don't check out? And do you stay home? Do you write someone in? And do you go with the lesser of 3, 4, 5, third choice evils? What do you do? So we don't have to. We can say, you know what? I'm still looking at it. But you're right. We can say no to blue, no to red, but then still take our time. We can still actually take our time, even starting from that point. So I'm with you on that. Jamie.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure. All right. So the next batch of things we had here were with Heartland's Media with Kit and Daniel.
Okay, let's be careful about this, but yes.
Yeah, we had a troll in the chat. I don't really want to share any of that stuff, mostly because it's an ongoing lawsuit, and I don't really want to compromise what they're doing. I feel like they're talking too much about it publicly, even if their lawyers told them it's okay to say what they're saying. And I think that's why when Kit talks about it, he's repeating the same things over and over and over. If you'll notice, it's because I think he believes that's all he's allowed to say.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, they might have, the two of them together. I think there was definitely an adrenaline rush there that, hey, we got a chance to vent. So I appreciate that Craig was looking out for them and saying, hey guys, let's just be careful here. Because they have been careful. I got to tell you that we've been talking privately about it. They've been private. So they've been careful for sure. But yeah, there was definitely a little bit of an emotional adrenaline rush. And so I just want to say, I hope, and I think if you guys watch the replay, if you guys missed the interview, we will upload it. Certainly. I can stand behind everything we did here on our show. Other than there was a couple little technical issues about what to share, how to share it. I might edit some of that out, but I want it to be fluid. But what we represented in that interview was we just wanted a platform for people to understand that in our vicinity, there's people dealing with this kind of stuff. Yeah. And we're not trying to get into the personal details as much as we're saying, let's protect free speech and independent media as best as we can. That's it. That's all. We just wanted to connect people. And by the way, people who never heard of Heartland's Media, because they're new to our show. That's the conversation I had with Kit. I said, hey, we got all these new people that watched us interview Dr. David Martin. They've watched us do some stuff that maybe they weren't aware that we even existed here, and now they've signed up. We have got at least 500 new, probably 6 or 7. Actually, I think it's closer to 600 or 700.
Well, I can see the numbers on
in the last week. In the last week, just since the interview with Dr. David Martin. And so I told Kit, these people might be interested in hearing that there is fights against a fight for free speech against censorship going on, not just in the medical freedom community.
It's not just censorship,
right?
It's not just censorship. I mean, we got to stand with them because they're also fighting against lawfare.
Yeah,
and,
that's right.
and it's like we got to show you lawfare. The way that they use it is tall chip stack just puts the small chip stack, pushes them out of the game. And it's like, well, you got to be able to win. You got to make it hurt the tall chip stack. It's like you can't just bully people with lawfare. Well, you can, but we got to show that it's very risky. I mean, if you don't win, it's going to cost you. Because I think from what we know, and we can't talk about, they do look like they have a strong case. And if they are able to see it all the way through, then they're going to win. And it's going to cost the other guys who've been putting them through this for all these years a lot of money.
Okay,
but they have to have the money up front to be able to fight the fight, which is a really horrible system of justice.
But guys, go to the GoFundMe. Look up it comes right up. GoFundMe.com. Harlan's Media. Go help support. If you guys were affected by this conversation in any way, you want to be part of this, go help these guys out. In the meantime, we're not going through all the negative comments that came up because we had some trolls. We had a troll. It happened.
Well, there were positive comments too. I do want to bring these up because these are not about Kit and Daniels. This is about a similar thing, and I think we can talk about it. So this is from Jungle Jer. Once I was sued for 16 bars in my album that sounded like a different artist because we collaborated once a long time ago.
Jeez.
My CD was already released, and so to avoid the courts, I had to settle, quote unquote, by re-recording those 16 bars and re-releasing the entire album. It cost me thousands.
Yeah.
The trauma from the stress is real, guys. I totally forgot about that old lawsuit, but I'm just seeing it in these guys where they're in this state, and it reminds me of it. Dang. So Jerry, Jungle Jer went through this some years ago, and he's relating it. And the part that I thought was important on this comment was the one on the screen right now where he's talking about the trauma. And like you guys have met. I haven't actually met Kit and Daniel in person before, but
we've been.
I have not.
Oh, okay. I thought you
guys did. And I've talked with them both behind the scenes several times, and when they're not on the air, you can just this trauma has been affecting them for months, years actually, but I've only seen it for months, and they're really being put through the ringer, and the stress that they're being put through is so stressful. It pours out onto you, like just listening to it, and if you empathize with them, you'll feel that burden of the stress they're going through, and it infuriates you that the system works the way that it does.
Yeah,
and I can relate to Daniel too. Like he's struggling being able to find work. So the only work he can find is by having his own company where, and then it's hard for him to get clients because these other people that they're in this suit with keep trying to subvert his traffic, or Daniel suspects that's what's happening. And there's a very little way to prove it, but, that's what they call suing for damages for, right?
If you're trying to smear somebody on social media, that you're in the middle of litigations against, then my guess is, and this is just my general hypothesis on this, that nothing to do with their particular case. I would just say you're probably on the side that isn't as solid, because if you had a solid case, why would you need to waste your effing time trolling people in their personal lives? Why don't you just stick to the facts of the case? That seems to me to be the difference between these two in this situation, and like that's the difference. You don't see Kit and Daniel like they're trying to stick to the case, and meanwhile they have to deal with personal, like they're not going and trolling their podcast. You know what I'm saying? Like they're not going on their socials and doing stuff. So clearly, if you're at that point, if you're out there right now and you're in the middle of, I think I froze.
You froze, but we could still hear you.
I'm coming in and going to come out here. Hold on.
Okay. I'm going to move on to the
Yeah,
next
you go-
comment.
move
There's a
on.
couple,
Okay.
there's a couple more on this subject. I'll stick to that. Okay, so All Sentient Beings said, "Wow, guys, I can't imagine the emotional turmoil all of you go through doing your thing and getting sued. Jesus," and I'm glad you used Jesus in that. I feel honored in that. Uh, but yeah, I mean, it just that's what I was saying. You feel the emotional stress that they're going through. It really is so taxing. It pours out onto other people, and if you imagine yourself in their shoes, what they're going through, it's not. Our legal system is the punishment, whether you win or lose. It's a punishing system for people.
Yeah.
All right, and one more. So Molly Littlebird said, "It's a tool these people use to silence free speech." So I think this kind of goes in also with lawfare and also with some of the other subjects we're talking about. But this came in during the Hardlands media section. So I think it's the fact that she's talking about like the trolls that come into like the chats and stuff. And like Daniel was talking about it, and right when he talked about it, they popped up in our chat.
That's right.
And I think really the best way to deal with them is to just ignore them. I think even banning them is probably a bad idea unless they're really attacking people. If they're attacking people in the chat,
I realized that's the line they I was waiting for that. Didn't happen. So I was like, you know what? You can run your mouth if you want, as long as you're not attacking anybody of our viewers. Once you start attacking our viewers, you are the hell out. You are gone. You are out.
And we didn't ban them.
So good. Okay. Good.
I mean, but the best thing to do when you got something is just ignore them, especially in an open lawsuit. Like, so I just feel weird just even talking about that stuff. I know they need to because they got to raise funds, so they got to say something.
Yeah,
but it's an awkward position to be in. I don't envy them at all.
So let's just get a few in from after the conversation with Kit and Daniel, and then we gotta wrap it up soon. I want to do one more quick story, and then we're gonna wrap it up.
Very well. I was reading your mind. So moving on to the big beautiful bill. This comment from Molly Littlebird. So Marjorie Taylor Greene voted for it and never read it, because you put up the tweets where she said, "I didn't see that part." Yeah, because she didn't read it. But the other points were made. They pushed this bill through so fast, and they did it in the middle of the night, not giving most congressmen the chance to read it. Now, we know even if they had 2 weeks to read it, most of them still wouldn't have read it. But I can give them a pass because it really was thrown on their desk and they were expected to vote on it right away.
This is how our system is designed, folks. This is how it works. This is not the first time.
I wish I had the meme ready. The old Schoolhouse Rocks with the "How does a bill get passed?" And there's like a new meme where it's just the bill and he's handing some guy a wad of money.
Yeah.
But
hey, at least Marjorie Taylor Greene admitted it out loud. I'm glad she said, "Hey, I didn't read it." So she was being honest about that. So there you go.
I mean, I like her. I like how candid she can be sometimes. And like, I don't agree with a lot of her politics, but I do like the way she politics. And she does seem to be sincere when she wants to represent her constituents more so than other people are. And I appreciate that, even though I think what her constituents want is completely wrong. But she's there to do that. Like Thomas Massey is too. He's looking out for his constituents. So as you can see this, Massey didn't vote for it, so it can't be good. And this is from "A Dingo Ate My Baby." Yes. So those are the comments we had from the Big Beautiful Bill segment. There were a few more, but like you said, we got to try to run it through here. And there were a few more. Should we see if anything else came in?
If anything new, we can just throw up on the ending.
I'll put this one up here. I want to address this. He says, Zuzilla says, "They are not refugees. They are rightful owners of the land. They are legal aliens that has occupied beautiful." Okay. That's correct. However, they are refugees because their homes and their land has been destroyed, and they are now not living in their homes, even though they're still on their land that belongs to them. They have been displaced.
Yeah.
So that's why they are refugees. Like when they told all the Palestinians to get out of their homes and go to Rafah, they'll be safe there. They became refugees at that point, even though then Israel went and bombed Rafah. So like, yes, I agree with you. It's their land. They belong there. But when you're displaced, you become a refugee. So it's just from that. That's the context of the word.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. There's some other comments here I didn't get to read because they came in while we were doing the segment.
That's okay. Why don't we
But,
fill them up?
yeah, you know what? I think that was good enough. We could probably move on.
Okay. Well, this has been Talking Back with Jamie's CheeseSlice. Thanks for
thanks, Matt.
Yeah, thanks everyone. And
show.
we'll see you next time. Thanks, Jamie. All right. And thank you guys for all your engagement today. And again, if you came in late, you can always watch the replay on Rumble. We're going to do one more story for you real quick before we head out. I gotta take this banner down. This one, we have to cover this because we missed it on Tuesday. We got to do this today. We're going to call this another episode of We Know What It's Not. Here we go.
But the virus stops with every vaccinated person.
But this is a pandemic of the unvaccinated.
The conspiracy theory about this related to vaccine, you're right.
We have to really move at the speed of science.
It's time for We Know What It's Not. Doctors are baffled. They're scratching their heads. We're trying to figure out what's going on with our public health. We got Maha in positions of power, seemingly trying to do some good. They've had to fight back against so many battles, all these Senate hearings, all these the mainstream media trying to pretend that the agenda was to destroy our public health. No, the agenda was to fix our public health and figure out what the hell is going on with all the rapid cancers and the neurological problems and the myocarditis. There's a long list. There's autism we're trying to figure out. So with all that said, all the battles it takes, why is this happening? After all the leverage we've gotten with RFK Jr. in the position of HHS secretary, all of the other people he's managed to get into positions of power at the FDA, at the CDC, why do you suppose this is happening? The FDA grants limited approval to new COVID vaccine from Moderna. The agency approved the company's lower dose COVID vaccine. Oh, lower dose. Okay. Lower dose, because the higher dose, that's just a little too much vaccine. We need a little lower one. Same ingredients, by the way. Same mRNA, by the way. It's for older adults and young people with underlying medical conditions. Yeah, this thing is unsafe to give to healthy people, so we're just going to give it to unhealthy people. That makes a lot of sense. Well, let's see what Dr. Tali Bowden says. Mary is actually going to hopefully be on our show soon. I think next week we're locking her in. She's going to come on. She's been great. One of the real honest warriors of the medical freedom community that can call out BS, even if it's coming from Maha. The full study results have not been published, and the data is not available on the FDA website. What happened to radical transparency? Great question, Mary. Great question. From sudden and unexpected, Moderna and Pfizer admit it themselves. These shots are genetic therapies, turning your body into an mRNA factory, pumping out spike proteins, possibly forever. Spike proteins equal clots, equal organ failure, equal death. Now, I'm not saying that. Sudden death and unexpected is saying that. We still, over here at the Almost Left, we're still trying to figure out what it is because we know what it's not. Why aren't they stopping this madness? Great question. It's obviously, and we've covered this on the show, it's obviously something that has been suspect that RFK Jr. not only is in a position to not actually get anything done off the list of things that need to get done. The primary thing is get mRNA out of the public health vicinity. Just get it out. No more recommendations, no more nothing. That seemed to be the very first thing that was supposed to happen. None of that is happening. In fact, the opposite is happening. Okay, well, let's hear what Dr. Jack Cruz, a neurosurgeon, goes on to show the absolute truth. These right-wing podcasts, some of them are having a hard time right now being honest about this, but at least this doctor, there are a handful of doctors that are being honest and having the conversations and saying the things that are hard to say right now about the people that you thought were going to do something about this health pandemic crisis that we are in right now. Let's hear what Dr. Jack Kruse has to say about the recent FDA approval of the Moderna vaccine.
Pushing the Trump administration to continue backing the shots instead of pulling them from the market as they should be. Dr. Jack Kruse, a neurologist by training, thinks he has the answer to that question. He was very involved in the MAHA movement at its genesis. He says he has the answer to the question, who continues to push these deadly jabs in the Trump administration? And I have a feeling I know who you're going to say, Dr. Kruse. It's good to see you.
Good. How are you? Yeah, I was very aggravated when I saw your interview with Peter.
I could tell.
And I'm going to be very frank with you that a doctor's duty is not the duty of an investigative journalist. It's the duty of the doctor to inform the public of really what's going on. So the front, you need to understand the front of this whole situation is Susie Wiles. But who did Susie Wiles work for? Susie Wiles works for the guys that you just put their advertisement on, which is Moderna. Now, who works for them? It's pretty simple. You saw this weekend, we had an attack that was splashed all over the media in Boulder. What was that? That was the shell game to hide you from the real news of the weekend, which was Palantir and their new database. Palantir is the next part of the deep state that you need to understand. Why? Because they were the front people for something called ANSWER. ANSWER is the direct link to the Department of Defense and the Pentagon. So I just gave you the chain of command. So understand, it starts with the chief of staff. It goes through Peter Thiel. It goes through these shell companies like ANSWER. And then it goes straight to the Department of Defense and the Pentagon.
There it is. That's it. That's it. That's it. And to fully understand how they got us the first time with COVID, how they got us with this pandemic, we've talked to enough experts and guests on our show. You guys know they've been paying attention. This is more than just a Bill Gates and Fauci con job. This is not a Joe Biden administration con job on the public. This is a Pentagon, Defense, NATO, Peter Thiel, Palantir. This is Palantir. This is all of those entities are involved, not just as side players, sideline players, as the people it goes to, just like Dr. Jack Kruse is saying. So the positions of power that we thought RFK Jr. was getting into, no. The positions of power, the new FDA, the new CDC, the new Surgeon General, all these people, all the Cali Means, all these people, Jay Bhattacharya, all these people, they were going to be doing all these things. No, it goes through the Department of Defense and the Pentagon because COVID was a NATO operation. That's what it was. So how do you then say, get these positions of power away and then change all these things when you still have to go through all these positions? And now make no mistake, the Pentagon, the Defense, Department of Defense, we don't get to elect these. We don't get to reassign them. Trump doesn't get to nominate someone for those. He gets to put little faces in there like the Tulsi Gabbards and then you got all this whole range of Zionists that get to be in these positions. But there's something above that, the people that don't go on TV, the people that go into the back room, the people that are responsible, the people that are responsible for Donald Trump having to step aside when COVID first happened, when the lockdown first happened. I had to press the right button there. When the lockdown first happened, the people responsible for telling Trump to take a few steps back so Mike Pompeo can tell you the military procedures that were going to take place and be in effect, starting with the locking down of the entire country, the closing down of all the businesses, the staying the hell away from each other for years, not for 2 weeks, for 2 years, and for lining up to get an experimental jab into your body. This was a NATO operation. So connecting those dots is important, and it's important to understand that this is not a Maha fight. Maha is completely weak. It's completely powerless to do anything. That's where we're at now. They have no power. RFK Jr. has no power. He has no power. The only thing he has power to do is to tweet out on the HHS Twitter account and the HHS website that the number one health concern in the country right now in our college campuses is anti-Semitism. That's all he can do. And maybe do a little bit of, oh, we don't have to fully recommend the thing for healthy people, but we're gonna jab the hell out of your grandma, out of your brother and sister who may have some pre-existing health conditions. We are going to jab the crap out of them with the same thing that we jabbed everybody with these last few years. We're not changing it. We're not taking any of the ingredients out of it. We'll just maybe tone it down a little bit as far as the amount, but it's the exact same thing that we all were forced to shoot ourselves up with a few years ago. It's not changing at all. Orders from the top, orders from the deep state, orders from the Pentagon, the Department of Defense, the Mossad, all of these things, they're all in charge, and we don't really have any power at all. So it's important that we speak up about this and keep telling the truth. In the meantime, I'll just end this segment with this because we know what it's not. We know these things are great. We know they're safe and effective. They told us they were safe and effective. We don't have to see the side effects. That Pfizer wanted to keep those from us for 75 years. So that's fine. I don't need to see any of those things. Just tell me where to line up so I can get my 10th booster. But at the same time, it is concerning that you have people like, I don't know, this is completely unrelated, but here's another. It's like Nico McKnight. This is Brian McKnight's estranged son, dies at 32 after cancer battle. Again, guys, this is a completely unrelated, nothing to do with what I just reported on the mRNA jab that was just greenlit by the FDA, that just got released, approved for more shots, more jabby jabs. This has nothing to do with that. We know that for a fact. But Nico McKnight, the estranged son of the singer Brian McKnight, he died on Thursday after a years-long battle. Like that was like years long. Okay, how many years was that since he got the jibbity jab? Not that one has anything to do with the other. I just want to be absolutely clear. That's too bad, but that's the new normal we live in. Let's see another one. Oh, look at this. Bachelorette star Katie Thurston says she's losing her memory and hair amid cancer battle. That's weird. Does that happen to people who are 34 years old? Well, she got this crazy diagnosis of stage 4 breast cancer out of nowhere at 34. And now her memory's gone, her hair's gone. This sucks. Sucks to be 34 with rapid cancer, stage 4 cancer. That sucks. Oh, look, here's another one. Let's look at one more here. College soccer player Chase Stegel, he's 20, found dead in dorm. Well, that is effing strange. I don't remember anybody being found dead in their dorm when I was in college. That's weird. What could it have been? Let's see. 20, he died on Monday, June 2nd. According to Scoot's newspaper, his death was described as unexpected. Oh, man. Unexpected. No cause of death has been announced. That's insane. Again, this has nothing to do with the stuff I just reported on. Absolutely nothing. We know for a fact what it's not. We're baffled. We're confused. Doctors are baffled. You guys are going to keep hearing that. These unexplained dropping deads, unexplained rapid cancers. What can we do about this? It's hard to know what to do when we don't know why it's happening, right? Gosh, I keep doing the wrong one. We don't know why it's happening. So it's hard to know what to do. There's only one thing we do know, and we can say with an absolute certainty that the rapid cancers and the dropping dead unexpectedly and the myocarditis, all the heart problems, the heart failures, the neurological problems, all of these things are happening. The one thing we know is that we know what it's not. And that should just about wrap up the show today, guys. I want to thank everybody who tuned in today. Excellent show. I want to thank Craig Jardula co-hosting today. And of course, our friends over at Hardlens Media, Kik, CABELLO, and Daniel. doing their thing, coming on here, telling their story. Don't forget to follow them at Hardlens Media. They do a great show every single weekday morning. You guys can check them out right out of Chicago. And Craig Pasta, obviously, he does the Truthwire show as well. He's on our show on Thursdays. And then, of course, shout out to Jamie CheeseSlice for being on the ones and twos and for doing the talking back with us today. Very, very cool. And I'll say this, guys, we're on to something here. We're doing something pretty cool. We got this Rumble raid that happened from Due Dissidents on our last show. We got this massive bump from having Dr. David Martin on our show last week. It's pretty cool. You guys want to know this? I didn't say this earlier. Sorry guys, there was a little bump here. I'm just trying to close out the show here. Okay. Looked like there was a little internet thing. Okay. Let me hold on. I'm trying to sign off here. Let me see if I can fix this. Okay. Looked like we just had a little internet issue for just a moment. Okay, we're good. Let me back up and say that again. 500,000 people. 500,000 people saw our interview with Dr. David Martin on Twitter combined with Rumble. Adding those numbers together, the clip we uploaded to Twitter and the Rumble interview that was uploaded on our Rumble channel, the most views we've ever had on our Rumble channel, the most engagement we've ever had on Twitter under Matt Weinglass Twitter, combined 500,000 people saw that. That means we're making an impact. That means we're doing something. That means people are paying attention to our conversations, our approach to news, our non-tribal approach. People know this. I was told when we started this show, be careful about putting left in there and the homeless left because you might turn some people off. Guess what? I think we attracted more people from it because we're telling you that we're homeless from the left. We're telling you that we no longer play the game of tribal politics. We're actually getting a lot of right-wing populists on board with our show. And we welcome all of you guys to what we are doing every week, twice a week, here on Tuesdays, Thursdays, every afternoon of Tuesdays and Thursdays, 12 o'clock Pacific, 3 o'clock Eastern. We'll continue bringing you guys more and more, and we appreciate all of your engagement as well. So that should do it for today. I think I did all the thank yous. We'll leave you with this on the outro, and then we'll have Jamie play a few more of the, or put up some of your comments if we missed them earlier. But on the way out, you're going to see some more Israeli propaganda. Because guess what? You're not going to believe it. The IDF has found a perfectly intact copy of Mein Kampf. It was found allegedly on the body of a Hamas fighter in Gaza. Oh boy, that's going to be a good one. So check out, yes, this announcement. Big news from the IDF because we can trust them every time. All right, guys, have a great weekend. And we will see you next time. Remember, always go out the world with courage, with conviction, and above all else, principle. I'm Matt Weinglass, Homeless Left, non-tribal approach to news, power to the people. We'll see you next time.
Exclusive, Laura. So this is Adolf Hitler's book, translated to Arabic, Mein Kampf. It's the book that led to the Holocaust and the book that led to World War II. This is the book that led to his victory in elections in Germany, which led to the worst atrocity of humankind, which the British fought against. Well, this book was found just a few days ago in northern Gaza in a children's living room, which was turned into a military operation base of Hamas, on the body of one of the terrorists and murderers of Hamas, and he even marked. He wrote notes, he marked and learned again and again Adolf Hitler's ideology of hating the Jews, of killing the Jews, of burning the Jews, of slaughtering the Jews.